Phil's Coins. Buying, selling, and trading with honesty and integrity.
I'm Stephanie Austin. A 20-year-old man has been sentenced to life in prison for the shooting death of a man during a marijuana deal. Cake TV reports that Mark Hawley III was convicted in January of first-degree murder and 6 other charges in the April 2017 shooting death of 18-year-old Deshaun Smith. Investigators believe that Smith and a woman met Hawley to buy marijuana. Instead, Hawley tried to rob them and shot Smith, who died in the car. Wichita police say a detective was charged with misdemeanor battery after an incident with a coworker. Police spokesperson Charlie Davidson said in a news release yesterday that Rick Craig was placed on unpaid leave until the police department decides whether or not he violated department policies. The Wichita Eagle reports court documents say that between April 1st and May 30th of 2018, Craig contacted another person in a rude, insulting, or angry manner. It's time now to turn it over to the sports desk. Here's Doug Downs.
Jacob Junis, the starting pitcher for the Kansas City Royals, gave them 6 solid innings yesterday in their matchup against the Detroit Tigers. But once again, the Royals bullpen gave up 2 runs in the 7th, and the Kansas City Royals lost 5-4. Kansas City and Detroit will resume the series tomorrow and end it on Sunday. The Wichita State Shocker baseball team will start a series on the road at Tulane. First pitch today will be at 6:30. The Shockers have won their last 6 games in a row. The Shocker softball team is on the road to start a 3-game series with conference leader UCF. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
The Laundry Station in Wichita is Kansas' premier laundry services provider. The Laundry Station has machines for all of your needs in the Wichita area. In fact, the largest machine can handle 10 loads at a time. Imagine a laundry facility where you don't need change. The Laundry Station accepts Apple Pay, debit cards, and credit cards, and your quarters as well. The Laundry Station is conveniently located in the heart of Wichita, on Oliver at Kellogg. The Laundry Station, and online at thelaundrystationks.com.
Joe and the guys at Carl's Goodyear, well, they are nice guys. That's the only way to describe them. Need new tires? Got you covered. Flat tire fixed? Done. Tune-up? Oil change? Brakes? Exhaust? Radiator? You get the idea. They do almost everything for your vehicle. They will also give you a ride when your car is in the shop. Nice guys who know auto repair, but above that, they know people and treat them like they would want to be treated. Carl's Goodyear, right on the corner of Market and Waterman, 264-5385.
Are you ready for tax season? AARP Foundation Tax Aid is. Their IRS-certified volunteers provide tax preparation help to anyone, and it's free. You don't even have to be an AARP member. AARP Foundation Tax Aid has many locations in the Wichita area and throughout the state. To find a site near you, visit aarp.org/taxaid or call 888-AARP now.
Spring is right around the corner. Your truck is getting excited because it knows it's almost time to go out and play. I've got Bob Shippers with me from Continental Truck Accessories down on South Broadway. Bob, it is the season to get the trucks ready for playtime.
Absolutely, Rick. Get your truck ready with a new Sentry or ATC topper or lid, soft cover, tonneau cover, roll-and lock, grill guard, and don't forget their hitches, receivers, and fifth wheels to be able to tow your boat, camper, and your other play toys.
See Continental Truck Accessories at 6701 South Broadway.
It's that time of year to spend more time outdoors, and it's not too late to get your new deck built from Burwell Construction. From mini decks to small patios to outdoor eating areas with gazebos, Burwell Construction has done it all in the past 30 years. Trust a name that's been around Wichita for a long time. It's Burwell Construction. Get on their schedule for your new deck. Find them online at burwellconstruction.com.
If it's built well, it's Burwell. Burwell Construction.
The latest news from the Big Talker, KQAM.
President Trump will visit the Mexico border during a trip to California today. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, already at the border, says the region is in the midst of a humanitarian crisis.
There are security concerns. We know that the criminals are taking advantage of this very vulnerable flow. They will push families across one part of the border. The Border Patrol will always go to help those in need. And while they do that, the criminals will come across in another part. But this is absolutely a humanitarian crisis in addition to the security aspect.
Former Vice President President Joe Biden will speak at a union meeting in Washington today, his first public appearance since a number of women have said publicly that his physically affectionate behavior had made them uneasy. Police in Mandan, North Dakota, near the capital Bismarck, say they've arrested a 44-year-old man in the killings of 4 people earlier this week at a property management company. The city of Chicago appears to be ready to sue actor Jussie Smollett for the $130,000 it said it incurred investigating a staged attack. I'm Christopher Cruz.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Derby Mattress. No dancing animals, no gimmicks. Your locally owned hometown mattress store at 105 South Baltimore in Derby.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, otherwise partly sunny and 72. Tonight, partly cloudy and 56 with gusty winds. Tomorrow, chance of showers and storms 8 to 2. Showers expected after 2, gusty winds, and a high around 68. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 6:06, it's currently 45 degrees.
News at the tops and bottoms all day, right here on the Big Talker, KQAM.
It's time for Reason.
The legislators, you cannot continue to go on and on and on and say that people don't have money for schools when we're spending more money than we've ever spent on schools in the history of the existence of the state. You cannot say that we've stripped away money from schools. That's not factually correct. It may be emotionally what you feel, but factually it is not true in any way, shape, or form. We're spending more money than we've ever spent in our existence as a state on education.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
Well, I gotta say, I am so glad it is Friday today. We've had a crazy weekend. It just gets crazier. It gets dumber at times. It gets more ridiculous at times. Hey, welcome into the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas on the Big Talker. 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting on YouTube as well. Go to youtube.com, which we are slow on getting some people on there this morning. Let's jump on. Let's check that out each and every day, which you do every single day, which we appreciate very, very much. Welcome into it. We finally made it, my friends. It is a Friday. Let's make it a free-for-all Friday. What do you say? That means today, whatever's bothering you, troubling you, worrying you, doesn't matter. Let's have some fun. What do you say? Doing the thing the way we do each and every day. Come on. 316-721-8255. 316-721-TALK. If you want to join into the program, we'd love to hear from you today. What's going on in your neck of the world? We have a lot to get to today. We have the vote that, yes, did happen last night in the legislature, in the House and the Senate, passing the education funding bill that includes everything that we've done before, the $1.5 billion that we've spent increasingly over the last couple of years and going into the next few years, along with an additional $90 million per school year for the next 4 years as well. That's another $400 million. And guess what? Hours after the legislature passed all of this and it goes to the governor's desk, what happens? The legal side of the education committees sue the state again to refile the charges that were not adequately funding education. Shocker, right? So we have more litigation, and I am absolutely sick and done with this, and any Republican that chose to support some of this, we need to have a serious conversation because I'm done. We're not going to fund education, give them more and more and more and more, and then think that it's going to solve it when they want more money, and then we get sued again with our own taxpayer money to be asking for more money, and then we just do the whole thing. Well, we don't have enough votes in order to stop and just, say that we're not going to vote a single penny more for it. We just can't do that, so we have to find a compromise. I get it, but when is the line drawn? Because apparently 30 years of this, the line has not been drawn. And apparently we are way more giving than we've ever been giving before. I don't know if you remember or not, but the revolution was fought over a 2% sales tax on cotton, a 2% sales tax on tea, a 2% sales tax increase on guns. 2%.
Now you try and raise taxes every single year, and Governor Laura Kelly walks away thinking that she is now the savior because she got what she wanted. She proposed it, she got it, and now she gets to sign it. Superhero of the day, so she's all empowered. Republicans, you just gave Governor Laura Kelly exactly what she wanted. Now, she's going to come back next year and be like, well, it's based on inflation, so we got to do it all over again, and, the courts are right when they say that we need more money. The courts obviously are going to come back and say, well, we need more money. Duh. Yeah, it's not adequately funded yet. Look at the test scores. They're not up. You got to spend more money. And then we're going to come back and be, well, this is the year we're going to draw that line. And then by the end of it, well, we just don't have enough votes to draw that line. This is the best we're going to get. We'll give you another $100 million. Why not? This is the sign. I'm done. I am absolutely done. I am furious. I am livid. And we will not tolerate this any longer. I'm done. We're going to talk with State Representative Susan Humphries coming up at 8 o'clock today, and we'll see exactly where it stands. Dan Hawkins, House Majority Leader, he spoke on this yesterday as the vote was going on.
We have emphasized all session that we should take a long view at what we do to make sure that we can pay our bills, not just this year, but next year and all those out years. I cannot support a plan like this that is fundamentally flawed and fiscally irresponsible. Kansans deserve real solutions and responsible management of their scarce resources. We've heard a lot of complaints in this chamber over the years about something called the glide path to zero. Make no mistake, this bill is a glide path to below zero, a path that will lead our state into bankruptcy. I vote no.
And I appreciate what he's done trying to rein in commonsensical discussions there. But more money going out, doesn't matter, whatever. We got an ending bounce this year. Who cares about next year? This glide path to zero, as they've been talking about. Yeah, the glide path, we go to zero, we go below zero. Who cares? Alita Fauscadeau even mentioned as long as it's for the children, for education, as long as it's for the sick people, for Medicaid expansion. Who cares that it bankrupts the state? We'll just tax the evil rich people because we don't like them anyways. To hell with freedom, to hell with liberty, to hell with private property. Let's just give the government everything. And you know what? Our state of Kansas has officially done that. Welcome in. 316-721-8255. I'm in a bit of a sour mood after seeing some of this today, but we have a lot more to get to today other than just that. We'll talk about that here a little bit more in depth in the show in hour number 2. We have our Pass It or Exit for the week as well today. The stupid, and look, I'm not going to have the filter in today, so bear with me on that one. The stupid progressives in colleges that are doing really dumb things. I know it's not a great way to start off 6 a.m. when you're trying to tune in. I apologize, but really? Come on, man. There are some not-so-bright individuals in universities that are actually trying to advocate for really not-so-bright things. I'm trying to be very PC here. We had, as we talked about yesterday a little bit, the university classes at Kansas University that is the angry white male class. Well, guess what? Yeah, I guess I'm an angry white male today. I guess I am because I'm not going to hold back anymore. I don't really care. So I need to take that class. You need to take that class. We're all a bunch of angry white males, and that class is going on at Kansas University, and it makes sense because if you can take a class that teaches about how another group that you're not part of, whether you're because you're a minority or because you're a woman or because you identify as something different, or maybe you are one of those angry white males and you are trying to self-hate yourself because you don't want to associate with that, and you're trying to accept the fact that you are an angry white male, apparently, which apparently is everybody, then it is an easier class. I wonder what the tests look like on that class. I mean, if you take a class, it's because you're learning something, and then you have to take the test in order to pass the class. So I'm curious on what those tests actually look like at Kansas University. It's going to start this fall, and I told you yesterday, I'm going to reach out to the professors. I'm going to ask the professor to come on the show that is going to be teaching that class to see what they actually have to say. I'm going to try. Now, I highly doubt I will get them, but I will try to get the professor on the program. But I'm curious what the test is going to look like. What angry white male enslaved tons of people? Ah, yeah, that was that angry white male. Yeah. A+ for you. And I'm realizing that we are dumbing down education to the point where you just take a class that you want to based on the emotional touchy-feely, and then whatever answer you give, then it's open to interpretation, and therefore it's the correct type of answer. Because according to the Associated Press, U.S. colleges celebrate failure to ease student stress. Because most progressive students, many progressive students, let me put it that way, are not passing their exams. Bentley University has plenty of success stories among its faculty and alumni, but one recent evening, the school invited students to hear about the failures. Speaking to a crowded auditorium, one professor recounted the time he sank a $21 million company. Another recalling failure, a college statistics course over graduation, described his past as struggling with drug addiction. Each story reinforced the same message: even successful people sometimes fail. Now, there's nothing wrong with the idea of showing your failures in order to succeed. I mean, that's you fall down, you get back on the bike sort of thing. I mean, I get that. But when you encourage them to fail, and hey, go put your hand on the hot iron and see if it actually is going to work for you. Oh, you failed. I guess you're not going to do that again, are you? Now, if they openly, actively go do it themselves, then yeah, it's a learning lesson. But you don't tell them to say, hey, go do something stupid, and then come back and say, oh, no, you got me there. You don't do that. Failure is normal. It's healthy, and I think people on this panel who argue it are actually transformative. There's nothing wrong with that mindset. But we have a line between saying, go do your own thing, and when you fail, because you will, then learn from that mistake and continue to succeed, because success is just finding it. What do they say? That, I didn't fail to make the light bulb. I just found 5,000 ways not to do it. It's not because you fail. It's because you're trying and trying and trying and you fail, and then you get back up and you do it again. So there's nothing wrong with that mentality, but don't encourage someone to go do something really stupid, like take an angry white male class, and then come back and tell me what it was like and say, oh, you know what? I learned so much, and now I can move my life in a better direction. It's ridiculous. Then you have what you saw on Fox News, global warming bringing you down. Washington State College offers courses on eco-anxiety, climate grief. Oh, yes. Out of Seattle, with every flood, devastating wildfire, and every deep freeze, climate change seems to be getting the blame. News headlines sounded the alarm with fears about survival, destruction of the planet, and the end of humans. It's all apparent too much for some to cope with, which is the reasoning behind a first kind of its class at the University of Washington, Bothell. It's titled Environmental Anxiety and Climate Grief, Building Resilience in the Age of Consequences. The age of, I guess we're going to have the consequences of our actions based on climate change, whatever. According to the school, a student who enrolled in the class explained her decision this way, quote, for a long time I didn't let myself feel the pain and anguish that was building up due to the destruction of the earth. Hold on, we need our therapy music for this one, I think. Here we go. Much better. According to the school, high-profile Democrats are feeling panic as they push for a Green New Deal. AOC made the headlines when she said the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change immediately. So now the climate grief class has students spending 1 hour each week outside in nature in a quiet place. They're required to write about what they feel and what they see. Students also take part in the group project in which they assemble a climate change survival kit. Of climate change. Now, I don't think this is like the Doomsday Prepper survival kit that we are used to. This is more like the touchy-feely global warming prep kit of like a plant in there where you get to like sniff it and be like, oh, I feel so much better. And I'm not talking about pot, although I'm sure that's in their survival kit, because then you can like enjoy nature better, dude. But it's not to be filled with flashlights and emergency food, but rather books and poems. Oh, there it is. Books and poems that can help others deal with their emotions tied to the environment. Yes, this is legit. In one university here in Kansas, we have angry white male class. In another university, they're telling students to go do something stupid to fail. And in another class at another university, they have climate grief classes with a survival kit of poems and books to deal with your emotions when you see climate change happening, and encourage you to go outside into the wilderness and write about what you feel inside. We have lost our... This is what is led to when you have a public education system that cares more about the administrators than you do about the teachers, and you care more about the students.
when the students are just a byproduct of what's going on with the education system, like what's going on here in Kansas, like what's going on in our local school districts, when you have a system that does not actually put the students first because we're more concerned about the greed, the money, the politics, the bureaucrats, and the administrators before the students, this is what you get. Fluff. I posted something on Facebook as kind of a joke last night as I was watching different documentaries and learning about stuff. And I don't know if you're aware of this, in ancient Rome, or ancient Sparta, I guess, the Spartans, like the movie 300, that sort of thing, the teachers would actually encourage fights between boys and actually start fights between boys to toughen them up. Today we have climate grief classes. We talk about how bad ultra-masculinity is, and we talk about how angry people are and take the angry white class. This makes me very discouraged today. 316-721-8255. It's a Friday. One thing that does make me excited and happy is it's a Friday morning, so let's get through it, shall we? And we have lots to discuss, and we'll get to it, and not just what went wrong in our legislature, but how we can correct it and how we can move towards fixing it. That's going to be the focus today. This is The Voice of Reason on a Friday. Stay here.
You're listening to The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Craig Mead. Well, there's been a lot of talk recently about approving E15 for year-round use. That still hasn't happened quite yet. Deputy Agriculture Secretary Steve Censky told a Washington, D.C. meeting of the American Coalition for Ethanol that if Mexico goes along with its plan of adding 10% ethanol to gasoline there, that could mean a possible substantial increase in demand for United States ethanol.
We have been working for the last number of years with the Mexican government as they are looking to implement an E10 standard within Mexico as well. And we think that that is great. We think that the estimates from the Foreign Agriculture Service is that could, result in an additional 1.2 billion gallons of ethanol demand within the Mexican market. And so that can be very significant. And as you all know, we need every gallon that we can get.
That's Deputy Agriculture Secretary Steve Censky. In other news, farmers are expressing more concerns regarding the future as the monthly Ag Economy Barometer drifts lower. The March survey fell to 133, down from 136 a month earlier. Organizers say increasing concerns about future economic conditions drove the barometer lower as the index of future expectations declined to 139 in March compared to an index value of 145 in February. The current conditions measure was unchanged compared to February at 120. The barometer surveys 400 agricultural producers each month. A rating below 100 is negative, while a rating above 100 indicates positive sentiment regarding the agriculture industry. Producers expressed more concern regarding farmland values, as 25% of farmers surveyed expect farmland values to drift lower over the next 12 months. Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network.
This is Jim Price. Join me every Saturday evening, 7 to 9 p.m., right here on the Big Talker, KQAM. When the news overwhelms you, from local to national, make sure you get the right information. It's time to put a stop to the fake news of the day, giving you a recap of the week in politics. It's the Jim Price Show, Saturdays at 7 p.m., and it's only on the Big Talker, 1480 a.m. and 102.5 FM, KQAM.
The Jim Price Show on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Hi ladies, it's Tiffany, talking about my all-time favorite flooring store, Jabbar's Flooring Outlet. You've heard of Jabbar's Flooring for years. They have the largest selection of carpet, tile, wood, and all your favorite floor coverings in the state. What I really like is the gallery and their design team. Refresh your space this spring at Jabbar's. Take it from me, ladies, a real shopper. Someone who loves a great deal and super quality. See Jabbar's for your new floors. Like they say, the smartest shoppers shop Jabbar's.
For nearly 2 decades, NextEra Energy Resources has proudly partnered with Kansas to fuel economic growth. Yes, friends, today that company's looking to continue that growth by developing a new wind energy center in Reno County. Hey, I've personally met many folks at NextEra. They're good people. The company's doing a lot of good in our state. The Pretty Prairie Wind Energy Center will contribute millions of dollars to Reno County and create hundreds of good-paying jobs. Wind energy, you know, is very compatible with farming, and the Pretty Prairie Wind Energy Center will add great value to the community. The Pretty Prairie Wind Energy Center represents an opportunity to harness the natural American wind resource, improve local roads, schools, and help residents provide for their families. Folks, the Pretty Prairie Wind Energy Center means a big investment in Reno County and a big boost to the local economy.
Over 340 years of roofing experience, and that's just the management and estimating team. It's no wonder Ray Roofing is one of the most successful roofing companies in Kansas. As a sixth-generation family-owned business, Ray Roofing specializes in built-up, modified, cold-applied, EPDM, TPO, and tapered roofing systems. Whether the structure roof is commercial, sheet metal, or flat residential, Ray Roofing was founded on the belief that a roof is only as good as the roofer applying it. Ray Roofing, online at wrayroofing.com.
Keeping you locked and loaded. Armed American Radio. Weeknights at 8 on the Big Talker, KQAM.
$25 minutes past the hour. Welcome into The Voice of Reason. Happy Friday morning to you. Let's get you pumped up, ready to go for the day. I got my venting out of the way, so therefore we can have some fun this show. What do you say? Speaking of lunacy and the climate change courses that you can take in college, climate change feel-good stuff, let's have a little fun. What do you say?
Now time for the Crazy Cortez Corner.
Yeah, so AOC got on yesterday into an Instagram live feed, and I don't know whether she was drunk. It seemed late at night, and she was snacking on stuff, and it was weird because she didn't even put the camera like anywhere like that was commonsensical, like, you know, on a table or something. She put it on the floor, and she's squatting down on the floor, snacking on a bag of chips or, you know, Cheetos or something. So either she was drunk or was, you know, doing a little something, but she was talking about some climate change and the climate change deniers in society.
You should also know that the internet documents everything, and your grandchildren will not be able to hide the fact that you fought against acknowledging and taking bold actions on climate change. And people who are trying to mock and delay this moment, I mean, I just feel bad for you. I just pity you for your role in history right now.
There it is. That's it. Oh, and then, you know, hey, got to dip in the bag. But I don't even get the point of these. Is this my generation? Is this like a generational thing? Let's do a quick little video, like do a little blurb of what's bothering us at the time, and then like people think that you're just so great and awesome and amazing, and then that's like it. Is that what we're doing nowadays? And we should do it like while we're sitting on the floor eating Cheetos or something, whatever she was eating. I don't even know what she was eating at the time, but sitting there and like and she goes on, and we'll play some more clips of it later on, but I was the youngest. I'm the youngest congresswoman to ever been elected, and I'm going to make mistakes, and yeah, but we're going to grow from that, and we got a lot of time to do this. She also went on to talk about how our grandchildren, you and I's grandchildren, as in my generation's grandchildren, are not going to be happy with us because the world's going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. So now, let me warn you, I will not have grandchildren in the next 12 years. My daughter is 4. That would make her 16. So if she's already having a child by 16, we have a bigger problem here. So I'm not sure how I'm going to have grandchildren and tell my grandchildren about the world if the world's already ended in 12 years because we didn't cut climate change, which we're not going to do.
Guess what? I'm 29. I'm the youngest woman to ever be elected to the United States Congress. I have plenty of time to learn, and I'm not afraid to make mistakes and iterate in public either. And frankly, if the mistakes that I'm making are just a one-off, like, rhetorical thing, you correct it, acknowledge it, and move on. At least I'm not trying to cage children in the border and inject them with drugs. That's not a mistake. That is a deliberate policy to attack people based on their national origin. That's not a mistake. That's just hatred. That's just cruelty. That's just wrong.
What? Excuse me? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, announcement, breaking news for everybody. We are caging children and drugging them. That's what we're doing. We're caging children and drugging them. And, yeah. Well done. I've heard that people actually believe in her and actually support her. I don't know how. And my generation, again, lets me down each and every day. This makes me very sad. Got to take a bottom of the hour break. We'll shift gears just a little bit when we come back. Judicial Watch coming out with a really big story when it comes to voters and potential voter fraud in the nation. We'll do that when we come back. Stay here.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
President Trump heads to the California border with Mexico today. He'll be looking at a segment of border wall. His Homeland Security Secretary, Kirstjen Nielsen, is already at the border where she's been sounding the alarm over the increase of migrants crossing over from Mexico.
Unfortunately, we have huge backups to process folks into the country. So this is before we ever talk about what happens after, just to give them that initial medical triage, to do the intake, we have a huge backup. So we're out of space even there.
Former Vice President Joe Biden to speak to a union meeting in Washington today. His first public appearance since a number of women have said he has been too physically affectionate with them in the past. A judge in New Zealand wants a man accused of killing 50 people at 2 mosques to undergo 2 mental health tests to determine if he's fit to enter pleas in the case. And the British Prime Minister Theresa May this morning asked the European Union to extend the deadline for the country to leave the EU to June 30th. I'm Christopher Cruz.
Filling an opening at your company means more than just finding an employee. You're looking for a fit, a match. Robert Half understands that. We know you need someone who can do the work, someone who complements your culture. And of course, you need that someone fast. When it all comes together, it makes for a perfect fit. Satisfaction guaranteed. Robert Half, the matching experts in accounting, finance, IT, legal, marketing, and administrative staffing. Visit roberthalf.com/radio for more information.
There's nothing small about your business. Your passion, your hours, your reputation, it's all huge. Your partnerships, even bigger. With Dell Small Business Technology Advisors, you'll get the tech, advice, and one-on-one partnership to help your business grow. Because with reliable Dell PCs with Intel Core processors, you can focus on what matters most, getting business done. Call 877-BUY-DELL to speak with an advisor today. That's 877-BUY-DELL.
Mid-America Network News. An attorney representing 4 school districts suing Kansas says an education funding plan approved by lawmakers is not adequate. Attorney John Robb predicted yesterday that the Kansas Supreme Court will reject Democratic Governor Laura Kelly's plan for education funding with an increase of roughly $92 million a year. Robb says it still does not provide enough new money for public education after the 2019-2020 school year. Authorities say the Kansas Bureau of Investigation agents served search warrants at several locations in Marysville, including at the Marshall County Clerk's office. KBI spokesperson Melinda Underwood told the Topeka Capital Journal the warrants were related to an ongoing criminal investigation into alleged conduct by an employee of the clerk's office. She said more information would be released if the investigation leads to an arrest or charges. I'm Stephanie Austin.
Here's some simple math for you. Chevy cars and trucks just cost less at Countryside Motors in Wellington. You want the best price on a Silverado in Kansas or Oklahoma? Check out Countryside Motors in Wellington. Are you looking for that perfect SUV? They have the great selection of Buick Enclaves, Envisions, and Encores, again, at the best prices anywhere. Countryside Motors in Wellington. Folks, it's simple math. For the best prices on cars and trucks, check out Countryside Motors in Wellington. Online at countrysidemotors.net. Simple math. Best prices. Come on out to the country and save. Countryside Motors in Wellington, Kansas. Kansas has gone from one of the worst states in the nation to one of the best with our gun rights. And that's thanks to groups like the Kansas State Rifle Association. Now it's the time for the KSRA's annual gathering. Sign up now to attend the annual meeting at the Wichita Marriott Hotel at Kellogg and Webb on Friday and Saturday, April 12th and 13th. Reception Friday, annual meeting and luncheon on Saturday. Enjoy great guest speakers and get the latest on the fight in Kansas.
Deadline to purchase tickets is Monday, April 8th.
For more details and tickets, go online to ksraweb.org or give them a call at 913-608-1910.
Autocraft is proud to call Wichita home for 40 years. We are local and family owned. We believe using locally owned businesses is important to maintaining a healthy community. Local faces being there for you long after the job is done. Autocraft uses local suppliers whenever possible. Eco-friendly products, giving back to local charities, putting that extra smile on someone's face. Autocraft invites you to join us to keep it local. So let's work together to grow a strong and healthy community. Be sure to visit us at autocraftinc.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, otherwise partly sunny and 72. Tonight, partly cloudy and 56 with gusty winds. Tomorrow, chance of showers and storms 8 to 2. Showers expected after 2, gusty winds, and a high around 68. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 6:35, it's currently 48 degrees.
For guest lineups, daily blogs, and show podcast, visit the Voice of Reason page at kqamradio.com. Patriotism is alive and well.
Laura Kelly wants Medicaid expansion. The progressive extremists want Medicaid expansion. And what did we do? We just elected a majority leader that's supposed to lead the Republican Party, set the tone for the Republican Party, and he is leading them under the flag of saying we are not going to support Medicaid expansion.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
35 minutes past the hour. Welcome back into The Voice of Reason, waking you up better than a cup of coffee, a shot of espresso, even an energy drink right here on The Voice of Reason. Great to have you along for the ride today. 316-721-8255. 316-721-TALK. It's a free-for-all Friday, meaning whatever's on your mind. You can talk about the topic that I bring up. You can talk about something different. Throughout the week, and we got to tighten this up a little bit, but, throughout the week is, the topic that I kind of bring up is what we need to kind of focus on. Today, though, man, it's anything you want to. We can talk about anything. Now, if I don't know about it, then we'll just all smile and be like, yeah, okay, and then we'll move on. But, hey, we'll have some fun with it nonetheless. Welcome in. 316-721-8255. 316-721-TALK. There's a lot to get to. By the way, today, I want to invite you tonight here on KQAM. 8 p.m. is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. I'm going to be guest hosting the program tonight as Mark is traveling with the family. Next week's going to be crazy because next week is the deadline for the KSRA tickets. So if you want to get a ticket, now's the time to do so. They only have like 30 or 40 tickets left, the last I heard a couple of days ago, so that might be even less now. But they're running low on tickets, so go there, ksraweb.org, ksraweb.org. You can get your tickets. It's $50 for both nights, the reception on Friday and for the event, the luncheon, everything, the speakers on Saturday, the actual meeting part of it. It's going to be a really big deal, and this is the group that's really turned a lot of stuff around here in Kansas and really fought hard for the Second Amendment. So if you want to go, it's like $52 for the whole thing. If you only want to go to the reception on Friday or only go to the event on Saturday, it's obviously less for that stuff. So go there, go to ksraweb.org. You can get your tickets. But next week's going to be crazy. On Monday at 7:30, we have Mark Walters, Armed American Radio, on the show to plug him coming to town as he's the keynote speaker to the KSRA meeting. At 8 o'clock, we have Bruce Williams and we have Jim Howell together as they are the president of the KSRA and a board member of the KSRA. They'll be with us. So Monday's show will be talking about the meeting going on for the weekend. On Friday next week, Mark Walters, nationally syndicated radio host of Armed American Radio, will be in studio right here, sitting across from me, all 3 hours, co-hosting the morning show, and then his Daily Defense Hour he'll be doing from our studios as well, which is going to be really cool. So looking forward to next week. It's going to be a really big week, a really exciting week. I'm so excited about this. But if you want to go to the event, I'm going to be emceeing the whole thing, and you'll be able to hear from different speakers, not just Mark Walters or myself, but they have, what was her name? Corin Mosher, I believe, who's a professional shooter and a competition shooter. And they have some reps from the state and from federally talking about Second Amendment issues that are going to be speaking at the meeting. It's going to be really big. So if you are any way, shape, or involved in the Second Amendment or enjoy Second Amendment issues, go to it. Go to the meeting, get your tickets right now before they run out, and hang out with us. It's going to be one heck of a time. I'm looking forward to it. So next week's a really big week for the show, really big week for me, and hopefully you're going to be partaking in this as well. We'd love to see you out there. If you have any questions, by the way, you can always call me, email me, and we can get you set up as well. 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. Let's get into, shall we, the Judicial Watch. It's a great organization if you've never heard of Judicial Watch, as they are a lot of political activists. They really try and fight for the right thing. They fight legally on some issues, and they've been focused on some election fraud issues as of lately. And the president of Judicial Watch sat down for an interview just last month and discussed the fact that there are almost 900,000 illegal votes that took place in the midterm elections of 2018, and this is what he had to say.
Voter integrity is a big issue for Judicial Watch. We have this election integrity project, and federal law allows individuals and groups like Judicial Watch who are aggrieved to sue states over their failure to take reasonable steps to clean up the election rolls, because we found in states like California, they have more people on the rolls than are eligible to vote. So we successfully sued in Ohio. We had a settlement. In Indiana, we sued. Indiana, did what we needed them to do, so we ended the lawsuit. In Kentucky, I think it was one of the worst states, believe it or not. A Republican-controlled state largely, had more people on the rolls than were eligible to vote. These are people who would otherwise be, when there are more people on the rolls than are actually living there, it means you've got people who have moved away who are still on the rolls, or dead people who are still on the rolls.
All right, let's stop right there. So you got to remember, and let's put this into the context of something that's been going on here in the state of Kansas. We've had Chris Kobach, former Secretary of State, that's been fighting very hard to try and keep the cross-check system going, and we talked with Scott Schwab about that a little bit yesterday on the program. Current Secretary of State, we've talked about the voter fraud issue, where we're not necessarily, it's not just about illegal aliens voting, but this opens the door to allow individuals to vote under names that are not their own, based on individuals who should not be as registered voters in certain areas. And this happens all over the country, is that it's very difficult based on people that are turning 18 and trying to register to vote, people that have moved away where we haven't actually updated the logs yet for the registrants in the area, people who have passed away and died who are no longer eligible to vote, obviously. And I get it. It's a very difficult process for communities, which is why it has to be done at the local level, because that way you have a smaller number of people and a more accountability for it. But it's got to be done. And it's got to be done efficiently and accurately, and the cross-check system that Chris Kobach works with and what we have in the state as of right now allows the cross-checking to happen to make sure that it cross-checks with other states, to make sure someone didn't pop up and re-register in a different state if they moved. It allows to say that if you voted once in one place, then you cannot vote in other places. It allows a lot of different checkings, cross-checkings, to make sure that things aren't happening the way they're not supposed to be happening. And if you're very up and up on trying to say, all right, this person passed away, get them off the voter doc list. This person moved away, we got to get them off the voter list here in Kansas. If you're up on that, then you're fine. But you would think this would be one of the most important issues that many of our politicians would focus on, because the integrity of our voting system is extremely important. It's one of the most valued systems that the world, not just the nation, but the world has. Because if we don't vote appropriately, now we want as many people to vote and have the access to vote, but we want to make sure it's done in a legit process. And Judicial Watch is realizing that there are many states, Ohio and Indiana and California and so many other states, that are actually having people that are, and here's what happens, is you have these names that are no longer registered voters in the area, and then that opens up the door for illegal aliens and even residents, not citizens, where you have to be you have to be a citizen in order to vote, but an actual legal resident or illegal resident that votes under those names because they're still on the voter docs and people show up to vote for them. And then guess what? The vote gets counted, and that's a problem that we need to address immediately.
And it's my view, dirty voting rolls can mean dirty elections. So nationally, there are 3.5 million, our great Judicial Watch lawyers and investigators found, 3.5 million extra names on the rolls than are eligible to vote. And 1.56 million of them, we confirmed, are in Los Angeles County. So we sued Los Angeles County and the state of California over that massive problem. And they settled, and they agreed to remove up to 1.56 million inactive names, which are names that shouldn't be there, off the rolls over the next few years.
All right, let's stop right there again. So the headline from judicialwatch.org is California and Los Angeles County remove 1.5 million inactive voters from voter rolls. Settle Judicial Watch federal lawsuit. 1.5 million. I don't know if you know, now, not that all of those 1.5 million names actually were voted and used in a vote during the election, but they were on the voter rolls. People that have passed away, people that have moved, people that have died, people that that are no longer active voters in the voter roll system in L.A. County that were still on the voter rolls. 1.5 million. Now, that's not, if none of them are being used, then all the power to them. We can just remove them. We can erase them. Hey, you know what? Little slap on the wrist. Please, get your records accurate because you're a government agency, and we get that you're inefficient. But let's try and stay as updated as we possibly can here. But come on, L.A. County, do you really think that they're not going to have any illegal votes going on in that area? Any votes going on there? 1.5 million. To put that into perspective, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by 2.5 million votes in the presidential election. Now, 1.5 million could potentially have chipped away just a little bit of that. It wouldn't necessarily have changed the election, and obviously we don't look at the popular vote, thank God. But just to put that into perspective, that's the difference that it makes even with a popular vote for a national election, 1.5 million, and all of those were in L.A. County. All of those were in L.A. County. Now you want to talk about, that leads into another discussion about the popular vote, doesn't it? That the swaying of the election that happened within a 2.5 million vote difference, 1.5 million of those came from one county, and you wonder what political aisle and what side of the aisle that they're actually on in L.A. County. Makes you think a little bit, right? That could be the swinging if we did have a popular vote of what would win and what wouldn't win based on one county, and that was only from inactive voter rolls. That's a scary thought to me, at least to me. Maybe not to you, but at least it is to me. That terrifies the crap out of me.
So we've cut the problem potentially in half just with that one successful settlement. But on top of that, there's this news out of Texas, which is related, which is that you had up to 100,000 illegal aliens or aliens registered to vote illegally. And of those, up to 60,000 or so may have voted. And that's in one state. Pennsylvania announces 11,000 names, potentially aliens, on the rolls who should not be there, who could be voting.
Now we have, again, that's the president of Judicial Watch talking about this voter roll system, and it's a very scary thing thinking about it, that 1.5 million inactive voter rolls in L.A. County itself. Texas, we have illegal aliens voting all over the different states. We have different illegals voting, illegal votes happening, not necessarily illegal aliens, but illegal votes, whether it's because someone is an illegal alien or even a resident but not a U.S. citizen that is now voting in the system when they should not be. And so many states have fallen to Judicial Watch when they've tried to sue them and shown that the inaccuracies are actually happening. When the Democrats at the same time are turning around and trying to tell you that voter fraud is a lie, that voter fraud is completely blown out of proportion, and that voter fraud is not actually happening in the nation, apparently they don't pay attention to this. Apparently, they're not actually paying attention to what the news actually is, because this is a very scary thought. To put this one in perspective, and this was, by the way, all these numbers were regarding the 2018 midterm elections in November. Now, again, for another example to put this into perspective for you, there were 75 vulnerable seats that were then House Republican seats in the House of Representatives, 75 of them across the nation that were vulnerable to Republicans. 41% of them flipped to Democrats. That would be a 54% difference, flipping from Republican to Democrat in that election. 41 out of the 75 potential Republican vulnerable seats, 51% or 54%. Does this have anything to do with it? Now, illegal aliens maybe voting, or residents, not citizens, but residents, legal residents that maybe voted. What areas are they in? Maybe more populated areas, maybe places where we don't have the system running as efficiently as we should. Doesn't necessarily mean they are in Republican districts that swayed the election. I don't know. Maybe they're already in districts where they were predominantly blue already. That very well potentially could be. But you have to wonder, would they flip that hard? With the numbers that he gives even more numbers here.
So not only is voter fraud real, but it's potentially very real in the sense of having aliens unlawfully present and lawfully present here registered to vote. And I've calculated, because there's this study, I don't know if you've seen it, Bruce, out of Old Dominion University. We've talked about it extensively here at Judicial Watch. And it's a numbers game. You've got XX million numbers of illegal aliens and just aliens who are here lawfully, they have green cards, and a percentage of them are going to register to vote, both in a knowingly criminal way and accidentally. And of those, a percentage are going to vote. And they vote in large enough numbers to influence elections. It makes sense. And when you look at the numbers from this study, you extrapolate them, for instance, to 2016, I'd estimate about 1.2 million aliens voted in the presidential elections, 80% of which tend to vote Democrat. So Hillary Clinton got 80% of those votes.
All right, so let's stop right there. 1.2 million illegal votes that happened nationwide in the presidential election of 2016. 1.2 million, 80% of those going towards Hillary Clinton. How many votes did Hillary Clinton win the popular vote by that the Democrats type up? Now, again, the popular vote doesn't matter because we look at the Electoral College, but they always hold up the popular vote as what, oh, look at this, the people actually want this person, and why don't we have a popular vote, and let's get rid of the Electoral College, which has been the movement lately. How many votes did Hillary Clinton win by? Like 2.5 million votes? 1.2 million of them being illegal votes. That cuts it away, so she only won by close to 1 million votes in a popular vote, which is very easy to sway one way or another. Oh, wait a second. That's crazy, right?
If you look at them in 2018, those numbers, given the turnout, I'd estimate you had 900,000 aliens unlawfully vote in the midterm elections.
900,000 people voting illegally in 2018 for the midterms, which did maybe have some type of influence in the swaying of 75 Republican vulnerable seats in the House of Representatives that flipped 41 of them. 54% of those vulnerable House seats from Republicans to Democrats. Do you think 900,000 votes had an impact on that in any way, shape, or form? The things that make you go, I really hope people are paying attention to this. And all the progressives that say, oh, voter fraud doesn't happen. Voter fraud's not true. Voter fraud, la, la, la. They always think of just the illegal alien, which there's many states now trying to actually legalize the vote for illegal aliens, which is dumb because it says in the Constitution you have to be a citizen, and therefore you have to have the requirements to prove you're a citizen, which is all that Chris Kobach did and why he gets so much flack for that. But you have to be a citizen in order to vote, not a resident, but a citizen, which means all the voter rolls that are inaccurate, because there are still names on there that shouldn't be on there, are being used and abused on people who are residents but not citizens, and illegal aliens who are voting when they should not be voting, swaying our elections and advocating for an agenda that is against American values. This is a very dangerous thing, because the most precious system that you and I can possibly have as a representative government representing the people that actually need to be represented, and a democratic process of actual elections. As in, like local districts with the popular vote in those, not the democratic process of a national popular vote election, which would be really dumb. But there is the democratic process of trying to vote in your district for a House member, and that's being skewed and manipulated and twisted by progressives who want people to vote who should not be voting, and then saying, there's no voter fraud, you're just conspiracy theorists. Keep putting on that tinfoil hat, baby, because they want to keep dismissing you and making you sound like a nut. But Judicial Watch, a very respectable organization, just showed how dangerous this issue actually is. Got to take a break here, wrapping up hour number 1. 8 minutes to the top of the hour. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. Thursday proved to be an interesting day for Kansas City wheat. We saw a good deal of activity back and forth, both sides of unchanged, up for a while, down for a while, up for a while, finished higher. May Kansas City wheat up 2 3/4 at 439.5. July KC wheat up 1 3/4 at 445.25. We saw some big losses in Minneapolis wheat, surprising given the circumstances there, and the Chicago wheat was down as well. So Kansas City wheat with the bright spot in the wheat markets, but surely very volatile over the course of the day. May corn finished up 2 1/2 at 365.25. July up 2 1/4 at 374.25. Soybeans did well. May beans up 7 3/4 at 906.5. July beans up 7 1/4 at 919.5. May soybean meal up 90 cents at 311.90. July up 70 cents at 315.40. Soy oil was on the upside. May bean oil 40 points higher at 29.20. July bean oil up 39 points at 29.52. So pretty strong day in the soy complex. Kansas City wheat and corn finished well also. Livestock numbers were pretty good. April live cattle up 177 at 127.55. June up 257 at 121.57. Later months were all in the green by varying amounts, mostly more than $1. April feeder cattle up 157 at 146.32. May feeders up 280 at 150.07. So a strong day for feeder cattle as well. Hogs were good. April hogs up 50 at 79.57. May hogs up 242 at 90.82. But several of the back months were up by $3. So a very strong day for hogs on Thursday. Cotton did well. May cotton up 27 points at 77.32. July cotton finished the day up 24 points at 78.01. So all in all, a pretty strong day for the ag futures markets on Thursday. Market information from Mid-America Ag Network.
Farmers, where do you go when you need top quality seed with a large selection? Kaufman Seeds. Call us for all your wheat, corn, soybeans, grain sorghum, forage, cover crops, oats, barley, triticale, and alfalfa. If we don't have what you're looking for, let us help you find it. No order is too large or too small. Call Kaufman Seeds at 800-634-2836. 800-634-2836.
You're invited to Wichita Tractor Spring Open House. Have a hard time making it to last year's 3-day event? How about this year's open house for the entire month of April? This year's Wichita Tractor Spring Open House will include Kubota equipment. Wichita Tractor is the only dealer in South Central Kansas to offer the complete line of Kubota equipment and will be selling it all at the best prices of the year. While you're browsing at the open house, register to win door prizes, including a brand new riding mower. Wichita Tractor's open house for the entire month of April.
Save big.
Guys, welcome to Bad Boy Country.
You're invited to Wichita Tractor Spring Open House. Couldn't make it to last year's 3-day event? How about the entire month of April? Browse all the Wichita Tractor lineup, including Bad Boy, Polaris, and the entire line of Kubota equipment at the best prices of the year. While browsing, enter to win door prizes, including a new Bad Boy mower. Wichita Tractor Spring Open House the entire month of April. Win a Bad Boy mower and save big at Wichita Tractor.
MJ's Truck Repair at Exit 46 off I-135 in Mound Ridge, America is the largest full-service truck center between Wichita and Salina in central Kansas. Truckers in the know already know, and ag people from miles around know they can turn to MJ's Truck Repair for repair and parts for their tractors, combines, and hay equipment. You construction types, listen up. Skid steers, backhoes, forklifts, bulldozers, and payloaders. MJ's of Mound Ridge is also your construction equipment, parts, and repair headquarters. Find MJ's on the web at mjstruckrepair.com.
Keeping political talk trendy. This is The Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM, KQAM.
Just a few minutes at the top of the hour here, wrapping up hour number one. Really interesting stuff when it comes to the Judicial Watch and their look at the illegal votes that have happened in the midterms and the 2016 election. 1.2 million illegal votes in 2016, 900,000 illegal votes in 2018. That's a scary thought to me. Let's get your thoughts on that, shall we? 316-721-8255. Line number one. Good morning. Who's this?
Hi, this is Helen.
Good morning, Helen. How are you?
I'm doing just great.
Good.
Well, talking about AOC, if she really believes what she preaches, then she should stop using the Internet, because my daughter did some research, and the Internet produces a bigger carbon footprint than anything else. So she should
you're
stay
right.
off the Internet.
The Internet produces a lot of CO2. I mean, just the way that it has to operate and the energy that it takes. I mean, her charging her phone while she's using her phone and I mean, come on, how much CO2 is being produced and climate change is being produced by manufacturing a cell phone, by getting the metals, manufacturing it, building it, shipping it, selling it. I mean, do you realize how much CO2 goes in by all of that stuff? So she's using a phone, she's using the Internet, she's snacking on a bag with a plastic bag full of chips. I wonder what's going to happen to that plastic bag when she throws it away, and she's telling us that the climate change is going to end the world in 12 years.
Right, and also the lithium batteries and stuff like that. That cobalt, they use child slave labor in Africa to get that stuff.
Sure. I mean, come on. I mean, she's using fluorescent lights in her house when she was talking about this. I mean, if she really cared, she would be in the woods with a handmade hemp dress, and she would be not using anything in any way, shape, or form, and then I would maybe believe her just a little bit. Not really.
Maximum Outdoor Equipment knows mowers inside and out, backwards and forwards, commercial, residential, all brands, all types. They also know trimmers, edgers, snow blowers, and most other types of outdoor power equipment. Maximum Outdoor has the know-how to work on them and the parts to fix them, even if it isn't a brand they sell. Now, if you need someone to repair your refrigerator or fix your plumbing, Maximum Outdoor Equipment doesn't do that. They're not one of those big box stores that sells lots of stuff but can't help you if something goes wrong. Maximum Outdoor is a small box store specializing in mowers and outdoor power equipment. If you have a lawnmower or some other piece of power equipment that needs tuning up or fixing, or you need parts so you can fix it yourself, they're the people to see, no matter what brand it is, even if you bought it at one of those big box stores. Maximum Outdoor Equipment. Give them a call at 943-0201 or stop in and see them just south of Kellogg on West Street and online at MaximumOutdoor.com.
Maximum service, maximum value, maximum outdoor equipment.
This is a Steckline Communications station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center, brought to you by Heartland Avionics and JD Aviation, your aircraft maintenance partners at Augusta Municipal Airport. Learn more at iflyaugusta.com.
Good morning, I'm Stephanie Austin. The fog that formed overnight across portions of central and eastern Kansas should dissipate around 11 a.m. Otherwise, you may want to allow an extra couple minutes to your morning commute. Otherwise, we are looking at a beautiful day. The Sedgwick County Jail books in about 75 new inmates every day, and it's already overcrowded. There are so many people being held, some inmates are sleeping on cots. The employees are working a lot of overtime. The Sedgwick County Jail is looking for 47 new detention deputies. Starting detention deputies are being paid $15.96 an hour. The department will hold a job fair tomorrow from 8 to 5 at the Wichita-Sedgwick County Law Enforcement Training Center on East 19th Street. A proposed wind farm in Reno County had residents speaking out at a public hearing yesterday. In front of a packed room and the Reno County Planning Commission, NextEra Energy executives discussed the conditional use permit submitted back in February for the Pretty Prairie Wind Farm. The company is looking to place 88 turbines in the southeast corner of Reno County. The hearing will continue on Tuesday, April 9th at 4:30 p.m. at the Atrium Hotel in Hutchinson. Well, it's another sure sign of spring. The farmers market season is about to get underway in Wichita. One of Wichita's two main markets, the Kansas-grown farmers market at the Sedgwick County Extension Center at 21st and Ridge, will start its season tomorrow. They're open from 7 a.m. until noon. The popular Old Town Farmers Market will launch its outdoor season in 2 weeks on April 20th. Both markets will start with crops like asparagus, lettuce, spinach, and herbs. At Dillon's grocery stores, soon it will be BYOB. Bring your own bag. The company has announced as part of their Zero Hunger, Zero Waste commitment, they're phasing out use once, throw it away plastic bags and will be transitioning to usable bags in their stores by the year 2025. Here's Doug Downs with the sports.
The bullpen once again came back to bite the Royals as they lost to the Detroit Tigers 5-4. The bullpen gave up 2 runs in the 7th after Jake Junis, starting pitcher, went 6 solid innings and handed the lead over to the bullpen. The Royals and Detroit will resume their series tomorrow, wrapping it up on Sunday. An email distributed by Wichita Baseball 2020 offered a first peek at ticket prices for the new AAA team coming to downtown Wichita. Season tickets will start at $980 and be available to the public starting April 11th. From the sports desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Coming spring 2019.
Hail.
Ouch.
Oh. Wind. Freezing temperatures. Tornadoes. That's mayhem.
Hi, I'm Mark Collier, your local Allstate agent. We're your insurance agency interested in doing what's best for you. Before mayhem strikes, call us at our Goddard office, 316-413-4014, and find us on Facebook at Collier Allstate. Are you in good hands?
When you look around, you might feel pride is in short supply these days. Everything's being disrupted. Rules are changing. Everyone's scrambling to be the next flavor of the month. But at Ford, we don't measure in months. We've been around for 115 years, and we know the only constant is change. So, disruption? Yeah, it's what we do every day. It's also what's led us to build the world's first affordable car, the most beloved pickup truck on the road, the iconic American sports car, and the SUV most people think of when they think of an SUV. We know America was built on the backs of families like ours, so we still take pride in what we build and how we build. We even take pride in taking pride. And the world could use a little more of that right now. Because if you don't believe in what you're doing, why do it at all? Build Ford proud.
Now back to the KQAM News Desk.
President Trump heads to the California border with Mexico today. He'll be looking at a segment of border wall. His Homeland Security Secretary, Kirstjen Nielsen, is already at the border where she's been sounding the alarm over the increase of migrants crossing over from Mexico.
Unfortunately, we have huge backups to process folks into the country. So this is before we ever talk about what happens after. Just to give them that initial medical triage, to do the intake, we have a huge backup. So we're out of space even there.
Former Vice President Joe Biden to speak to a union meeting in Washington today. His first public appearance since a number of women have said he has been too physically affectionate with them in the past. A judge in New Zealand wants a man accused of killing 50 people at 2 mosques to undergo 2 mental health tests to determine if he's fit to enter pleas in the case. And the British Prime Minister Theresa May this morning asked the European Union to extend the deadline for the country to leave the EU to June 30th. I'm Christopher Cruz.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Maximum Outdoor Equipment. All equipment outdoors, from lawnmowers to snowblowers. Just south of Kellogg on West Street and online at MaximumOutdoor.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, otherwise partly sunny and 72. Tonight, partly cloudy and 56 with gusty winds. Tomorrow, chance of showers and storms 8 to 2. Showers expected after 2, gusty winds, and a high around 68. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:06, it's currently 48 degrees.
Hi, this is Jimbo Hannon. Join me live weeknights at 9 right here on the Big Talker, KQAM.
It's time for Reason.
The legislators, you cannot continue to go on and on and on and say that people don't have money for schools when we're spending more money than we've ever spent on schools in the history of the existence of the states. You cannot say that we've stripped away money from schools. That's not factually correct. It may be emotionally what you feel, but factually it is not true in any way, shape, or form. We're spending more money than we've ever spent in our existence as a state on education.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, hour number 2 of the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting on YouTube Live. Make sure to check it out. It's great to have you along for the ride today. Excuse me. I'm getting a little excited. What can I say? Welcome in. It's great to have you along for the ride today on a Friday. It's a free-for-all Friday. Let's jump right into it here, shall we? That means today, whatever's on your mind, bothering you, troubling you, doesn't really matter. Let's have some fun doing the thing, advancing conservatism each and every day, the way we do right here. And it's up to you. What's up? 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. If you're going to join into the program, I'd love to hear from you today. As we do every Friday, this portion of the Voice of Reason is brought to you by Countryside Motors. Just a short drive down the turnpike for big savings. Make sure to check out the Buick and Chevy cars and trucks, along with the Polaris, Hustler, ATV, and Turf equipment. They have your complete service and parts department for your Polaris and Hustler equipment. Their full-line service as well for your Chevy and Buick vehicles. Also, oh yeah, by the way, they're the new Spartan dealer for the area as well. Make sure to check them out. They got a huge selection, whatever you may be looking for. It's Wellington, Kansas, just a drive down the turnpike down south of us here in Wichita. Also online at CountrysideMotors.net. Again, CountrysideMotors.net. Make sure to check those out. We appreciate very much them partnering with us right here on the Voice of Reason. Before we get into our pass it or exit of the day, let's do a quick Kansas update.
Today in Kansas.
All right, I'm ready.
ready.
And it's something you're not going to be very happy about. I don't know if you paid attention to the news as of yesterday, but the House of Representatives in Topeka, along with the state Senate, both voted on the education finance bill, where they continued the $525 million annual funding hike over the next 5 years. Also included the $90 million annual increase for the next 4 years in preservation of the adopted idea last year that we were under inflation in the state of Kansas. The House of Representatives passed the bill 76-47 as of yesterday afternoon. The Senate turned around and passed it with an overwhelming majority of 31-8 and expressed optimism in the package that would put rest of a decade-long fight with schools for fair funding. However, here's the big, shocking, crazy news. Just hours after the Senate officially passed it and it went to the governor's desk, the lawyers for the education system have already refiled the charges saying that we are inadequately funding education in the state, and it will again go back to the Kansas Supreme Court. Now, please tell me, all you Republicans who voted for this bill thinking this is going to fix it, it's going to change it, the Supreme Court this time, they're really going to side with us here this time. I hope Mommy and Daddy are proud. I'm a big kid now. I really think that this is going to be the way to do it this year. I'm serious. I mean, this is...
I'm a big kid now.
That's the way our legislators are acting right now. Hey, we did something. I hope the Supreme Court really does it this year. And, you know, surprise, surprise, the lawyers have already filed the suit to take it back to the Supreme Court. Because remember, Schools for Fair Funding, they wanted not a $90 million annual increase. They wanted a $390 million annual increase for the inflation. And therefore, it's not enough. And this was going to be the end-all, be-all. Here's the question. This has been going on for 30-plus years. When is it enough? When is the line drawn? And when are we going to say enough is enough and we will vote for absolutely zero more? That's what I thought we were going to do this year. I am livid. I am absolutely going to blow a gasket because we've gone through this at least every year that I've been here and been on the radio, and we've heard about this discussion at least for the last 30 years. Not enough, not enough, not enough, not enough, not enough. You do realize that we passed the largest tax increase in state history 2 years ago, and that $1.2 billion, all of that went directly to education. Nothing else. Education. That was a $1.2 billion increase. We have a $525 million increase where we're increasing it $100 million every single year. Now we just did another $90 million, increasing it for the next 5 years every single year. On top of $90 million this year. That's the new base. Now $90 million the next year. That's the new one. Now $90 million the year after that. We're looking at another $400 million. We have overall in the next really 5 years a $2 billion with a B dollar increase in education funding. And you're going to tell me that that's not enough. We just pushed over the $14,000 per student spending category. And that's not enough. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to do. Of course the lawyers were going to, because when you give a bully your lunch money, they know that you are a safe way to tap into that money when they want it, and they will continue to do so. The Supreme Court, the lawyers, they're bullies, they're abusive parents, and it's time to end the cycle. We don't like bullies in the system. Apparently that you actually have not even a bully situation. You have two kids tuffling in the schools, and you get suspended. If not kicked out for the rest of the school year, if not kicked out for good, because they took a swing at each other. The Supreme Court bullies the legislature like they're the redheaded stepchild of the family in our governmental system, and they continue to cower over and over and over again. And they don't care. Governor Laura Kelly loves it. The hashtag Kansas Legislature on Twitter took an important step today towards addressing the needs of our students and supporting our teachers and fully funding our schools. I'm proud of this reasonable common sense plan. Was embraced with bipartisan support today. Kansans want to work together to move Kansas forward. She tweeted else as well, by investing in our local schools, we can ensure that all Kansas children, no matter who they are or where they live, have the opportunity to succeed. I hope you do realize that that is the most racist thing I've ever heard, and where they're, no matter where they may be or who they are, meaning like inner city schools that don't get the proper education funding, right? Don't get the proper resources. That's where 90% of the education funding goes. Go talk to the Wichita School District, and then go talk to someone like, the Chanute School District, and see how much money they get and how much resources they actually get and see where the opportunities actually are. Go talk to the lower, the rural communities versus the bigger school districts, the inner city stuff, and see how much money is actually there and see where the graduation rates are. This is ridiculous. I don't know what else to say because it seems like we're never going to get to the point of saying enough is enough. We started the revolution in this nation for a 2% sales tax increase on tea. And we said, no, we're done. We're starting over. To hell with you. Right now, we have 54% of your property taxes locally going towards education. We have the majority of sales tax going towards education. We have to raise income tax to pay for education. We have to find other taxes like the sin tax and like online purchases and sales tax there. We have to do this tax. We have to do that, all of that so we can go towards education because over 60% of our state budget goes towards that education funding. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else they want us to do because they were like, this is going to fix it. I mean, that's like the Republicans voting for that largest tax increase in state history and saying that's going to solve our budgetary problems. We're done. We don't have to raise taxes anymore. That's the one reason why those Republicans not only voted for it, but voted to override the governor's veto on that largest tax increase in state history. We're not going to have to do it anymore. And what are we looking at now? Oh, yeah, this year, we may have an ending balance that's D, so next year we're actually in the red. We're actually not even at zero. We're below zero. We're actually worse off because we're looking at stupid social programs. We're looking at expanding the education funding. And then guess what? Just hours after they vote for it, and we're like, hey, we did it. We found a compromise. We found the happy medium here. The lawyers are like, yeah, that's nice. We're going to sue you. Taxpayer money going back to the Supreme Court, baby. Got to take this to them. And, gee, I wonder. I'm going to wait on pins and needles. I'm going to hold my breath to see what the Supreme Court has to say about this. When they said, actually, we made a calculated error. We really need $390 million per year increase over the next 5 years, which would be close to another $1 billion. They only gave us 90. They're big meanie heads because they're not actually taking care of children. Please tell me how we're going to end this litigation. The only way you end it is when you say, no, we're cutting you off no more. We're not giving you a single penny. And in fact, we're probably going to cut some of the funding that we did for there because you need to learn to appropriate it the right way. And they're going to say no. And then we throw into a constitutional crisis. And we have that battle. We have the end-all, be-all battle of all times, the Armageddon battle where the heavens open up and the fire and brimstone open up and we finally have the all-out brutal war. That's what our state government needs to have in order to address this issue. To draw the battle lines and for the Supreme Court to say, I'm out, I'm not going to make any more judgments on this in any way, shape, or form. So whatever the legislature comes out with is what we're going to go with. And in the legislature, then if they continue to raise spending, that's on their own damn fault, not for them to come back and say, well, the Supreme Court told us we had to, because they're using that as a scapegoat. Get the Supreme Court out of it completely and allow the legislature to make up whatever bill they want to, whether it's less money or more money, and then we accept it and we move forward. Because right now they're doing it and they're saying, we don't have enough votes to try and stop the Supreme Court. So we just got to do the best we can. And I get it because they're right. They don't have the votes. I get it. They do not have the votes, which means you and I need to step up. And the ones that are scared of the parent, the mommy and daddy that is the Kansas Supreme Court, it's time for them to not be leaders any longer and to put real leaders in those seats. If you don't know how to lead, if you don't know how to be a leader, then you do not deserve that position any longer. 316-721-8255. Dan Hawkins, House Majority Leader, did comment on this yesterday.
We have emphasized all session that we should take a long view at what we do to make sure that we can pay our bills, not just this year, but next year and all those out years. I cannot support a plan like this that is fundamentally flawed and fiscally irresponsible. Kansans deserve real solutions and responsible management of their scarce resources. We've heard a lot of complaints in this chamber over the years about something called the glide path to zero. Make no mistake, this bill is a glide path to below zero, a path that will lead our state into bankruptcy. I vote no.
That was Dan Hawkins yesterday. He voted no, and we appreciate all the Republicans that did vote no. It passed overwhelmingly in the Senate with a 31-8 vote, and now what do? We just wait and sit back and just watch the litigation continue to go on, and they're going to say, just like they always do, well, it's enough to get us through this year. Next year, you need more money. We can't tell you how much that is. That's unconstitutional, but we will tell you that it's not enough. So just start working on it again next year, and we'll just do another whole one-year budget, and we'll see where we're at then. We'll just go from there. Got to take a break here. But first, let's go ahead and get into our Pass It or Axe It of the day.
I'm in a nightmare hallucination.
It's time to pass it or axe it.
Yeah, this is one of our favorite segments we do every single week to wrap up the show, wrap up the week, have a little fun with it, where you are the voter, you're the constituent, you get to decide on yay or nay on some of the issues. And our Pass It or Axe It of the week is always brought to you by the Spectacle Shop, KRSpecs.com. Visit them, check them out, 306 North Rock Road as well. Again, KRSpecs.com, Kitten Roxy's Spectacle Shop. Here is our Pass It or Axe It of the day. It's not education, because just it's frustrating, and we already know where most of us stand on that one, unless there are some that disagree, in which you're more than welcome to call in. But here's our Pass It or Axe It of the week. Country star Brad Paisley, if you did not see the headline, according to Fox News, to control the backhoe to dig up his first pile of dirt in the space that will become a free grocery store to support needy families in Nashville, Tennessee. He donned the cowboy hat-shaped construction helmet for part of Wednesday's groundbreaking ceremony for the store, which is a partnership with his alma mater, Belmont University. The country star and his wife, actress Kimberly William Paisley, said they got the idea after volunteering with their kids at a similar store called the Unity Shop in Santa Barbara, California. The construction on Nashville store project is complete at the end of the year. So, a free grocery store for the needy families, and giving just the free food for those who need it. Now, here's my question. If you were a legislator, would you allow this in the community or would you not? Is this a free goodie handout socialized mentality, or is this a charitable giving like so many private organizations do, with giving out, the soup lines for like the Catholic churches, or for private entities that go around and give away free meals to the homeless out in the streets? Is this a good idea to try and help spur caring and loving towards a community as a private entity, or is this nothing more than a socialized mentality to say that you don't have to work for the food that you eat? Your thoughts. If you could vote on this to allow this to be in the community, would you want this? Pass it or axe it? We'll get your thoughts and calls on this. 316-721-8255. Let us know. Also, it's on the Facebook page at facebook.com/1480KQAM, or on the Voice of Reason page as well. The poll on there, you can pass it or axe it. Your thoughts on that when we come back right here on the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Craig Mead. Well, as you know, there was recently a big sale of soybeans to China.
Friday and Monday, we saw 1.6 million metric tons of flash sales to China for soybeans.
USDA Outlook Board Chair Seth Meyer says it may be a good thing on the surface, but if you look a little deeper, it may not be so good.
Because will those commitments grow? Will they promise to buy more? Will more get put on the books? Will it start to move? Does it happen this year? Does it get rolled to next year? And even then, it's less than they've taken in previous years.
So with China back to buying at least some United States soybeans
and propping up that price a little bit, it makes it more difficult at this time of the year for us. We're trying to compete with the Brazilians in their part of the marketing year. So if the Chinese bid that price up a little bit, it makes it more difficult for us to sell to the rest of the world.
So what initially looks like good news might not actually be all that good. Soil temperature report brought to you by the Kansas Corn Growers Association and Abilene Machine. Ag producers around the country depend on Abilene Machine for high-quality ag replacement parts at the lowest possible prices. Call 800-255-0337 for new, remanufactured, and recycled parts for planters and drills, tractors, combines, and more, or order online at AbileneMachine.com. Slowly warming up across the Central Plains. Nebraska still checks in with lots of 30s, but northern Kansas, 43, 44, and 45 degrees. Southern Kansas, 47, 48, and 49 degrees. And those temperatures continue to warm a couple of degrees, it seems like. And we're looking at 52 and 53 degrees across north central Oklahoma. So finally slowly warming up across the Central Plains as far as 4-inch morning soil temperatures this morning as of 7 a.m. Soil temperature report brought to you by the Kansas Corn Growers Association and Abilene Machine on Mid-America Ag Network.
Everyone knows Prairie Band Casino and Resort gives you more ways to play, like more adrenaline-pumping action at our table games and slots, more delicious ways to indulge at the award-winning Three Fires Steakhouse, more ways to relax in our luxury hotel and soothing courtyard hot tubs, and more bragging rights to earn at Firekeeper Golf Course. Yes, Prairie Band Casino gives you more ways to play and more reasons to stay.
Prairie Band Casino and Resort.
Are you ready for a renovation in your landscape? Would you like to add trees, shrubs, or flowers? Do you need somebody that can help you deciding what to plant? Call Professional Landscaping Services at 832-0061 for a free estimate. Professional Landscaping Services has experienced personnel and the right equipment to do the right job for you. We have over 35 years of experience providing quality work. Call Professional Landscaping Services at 832-0061. We do what we say we'll do for you. Professional Landscaping Services, 832-0061.
Hey, it's Joe Pags. Join me live today at 5. Now back to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM, KQAM.
25 minutes past the hour. We are rocking it and rolling it here on the AM and FM KQAM radio, also on YouTube Live. Make sure to check it out, youtube.com. Find KQAM radio, subscribe to the page. You can leave a comment on there, and that will count for your vote on the Pass It or Exit of the day.
I'm in a nightmare hallucination.
It's time to pass it or exit.
And our Pass It or Exit every single week brought to you by the Spectacle Shop, KRSpecs.com, also at 306 North Rock Road. We got some people that are chiming in on the poll on Facebook with our Pass It or Exit about, would you support the idea of a free grocery store for low-income areas, or is that just a socialist way to try and make people dependent and not have to work for it? Or is it a charitable way through a private entity like Brad Paisley, the country singer, is doing in Nashville and some other places around the country have done in other cities as well? Your thoughts on that? Would you allow that in there between the emails, between the votes so far? We have it with the Xing at about 8-5 as of right now. So let's go to the phones and get your thoughts on this one. Line number one. Good morning. Who's this?
This is Sean.
Hey, good morning, Sean. How we doing, sir?
Doing well. All right, here's my take on it. It's charity if you're using your own money. It's socialism if you're using somebody else's money.
Okay. All right.
So your question is, is this grocery store a good thing? I think it's fantastic because you got an individual who cares enough about an issue that he uses his own money that he earned and the government let him keep, and is now going to do it and give it to somebody else. That is charity. That's given away out of his own heart.
Sure. Now here's my question with it, and you're right. If people with your own personal money, you can do what you want to, and it's all the right for you to do that, and all the power to him. And he's trying to help out the community, so good for him. My question is, how successful is it going to be? Is it going to be one of those? It's a free store, so it's going to be rated by everybody. It's going to be depleted, and it's going to go belly up pretty quickly because of the fact that, well, it's free food, and even people who can necessarily sometimes afford food, maybe on the lower end of the scale, but can afford groceries, start going to that. It brings in more people and say, hey, it's free, so why can't I just go and grab it there? How successful is something like this actually going to be?
Oh, it's going to fail horribly. It's going to fail horribly for the exact reason that you said. But that's not relevant to the conversation.
Okay.
Because, once again, he's giving his money
Sure.
for a cause that he believes in. And, by the way, in the meantime, he is going to help some people.
Sure.
Now, in the long run, it will fail. It will fail because people will look at it as, oh, it's free, so I'll go take it too, whether I need it or not. I'm aware of all kinds of charity things that go on out there and people dipping into it that have no rhyme or reason to be there. But, in today's day and age, taking a handout, there's no shame in it anymore.
Sure.
Like there was 40, 50 years ago, where if you had food stamps, you went to the store, when there weren't very many people there because you didn't want people seeing you pulling out your food stamp coupons.
Sure.
But now it's, hey, I got it free. The government gave it to me. And I don't even have to thank you, Mr. Sean, that's standing right behind you.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. All right. Well, you bring up a really interesting point. Yeah.
So, is it going to harm the community? No, it's not going to harm it because, it's going to go, the food is going to get distributed amongst people. Hopefully the vast majority of it will go to those that it's intended to go to.
Sure.
And, and it'll help people as long as Ms. Paisley can continue to keep writing checks to the organization to keep it going.
To make it keep going. Well, that's an interesting point, Sean. I appreciate that very much. We got some other calls I want to get to here. It's an interesting way to look at it, and you're right. Now, legally, you're right. I mean, it's his own money. He can do whatever he wants to. All the power to him. The question is, will it work? Will it succeed? Or is this the mentality of let's make you dependent and just demand the right for free stuff because we can't afford it, so therefore you just need to provide it for us? Charity, I'm all for the charity, and I want to give to charity. But having an established business that gives away free things, is this setting up a mentality that's what we come to expect because, well, look, it's being done, therefore why isn't everybody doing this? And therefore, is this going to lead to a new movement of, hey, you know what, there better be free food all over the place because how dare you make me pay for it when some other people are getting it for free? Makes you think a little bit. We'll do that when we come back. Stay here.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
President Trump is flying to the California border with Mexico today to examine a segment of the border wall. Correspondent Nick Watt is in Calexico, California this morning.
There are protests planned down here for today. Organizers have called for those protests to be peaceful but loud, and one of the groups involved is bringing that big inflatable baby Trump wearing a diaper. They want the president to see that.
Former Vice President Joe Biden supporters say he is still preparing for a presidential campaign. Biden will speak to a union meeting today in Washington, his first public appearance since a number of women have said that his physically affectionate behavior in the past had made them uneasy. One person has been shot, another arrested at Naval Air Station Oceana in Virginia Beach, Virginia this morning. More than 10,000 active duty Navy personnel and their families call the base home. Oceana was locked down, but the lockdown has now been lifted. I'm Christopher Cruz.
Fun news, Gordman shoppers. G Rewards just became Style Circle Rewards, and that means a $5 payback reward for every 100 points earned, any way you pay. Plus, store card holders will earn even more with double points on every purchase, all day, every day. And because you know how we like to share the love, now you can earn and redeem rewards and use your store credit card at Stage, Fells, Goodies, Peoples, Palais Royal, and at Stage.com too. Let the shopping games begin. Bigger deals, smaller prices. # got it at Gordman's.
Want a more beautiful lawn this season? The Home Depot has a few suggestions in one bag. Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action, starting at just $26.68. It feeds your lawn, it weeds your lawn, and it prevents crabgrass for up to 4 months. 3 of the most common lawn problems, 1 great solution. Today is the day for doing with Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action, starting at just $26.68 a bag. Now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. While supplies last, continental U.S. only. Today is the day for...
Mid-America Network News. A federal lawsuit has been filed on behalf of 3 college students who were detained after hanging banners at the Kansas State House supporting Medicaid expansion. The American Civil Liberties Union of Kansas said the Kansas restrictions suppress political expression. The litigation stems from an incident last month involving Kansas State University students who helped hang large banners that sang top Republican legislators who oppose expanding Medicaid have blood on their hands. A burn ban is in effect in 16 Kansas counties during the month of April. The ban restricts burning trees, brush, crop residues, construction debris, yard waste, and it prohibits the use of backyard chimeneas and fire pits. This is to help offset the burning that's occurring in the Flint Hills region. I'm Stephanie Austin.
Hi ladies, it's Tiffany, talking about my all-time favorite flooring store, Jabbar's Flooring Outlet. You've heard of Jabbar's Flooring for years. They have the largest selection of carpet, tile, wood, and all your favorite floor coverings in the state. What I really like is the gallery and their design team. Refresh your space this spring at Jabbar's. Take it from me, ladies, a real shopper. Someone who loves a great deal and super quality. See Jabbar's for your new floors. Like they say, the smartest shoppers shop Jabbar's.
Have you ever stopped to think about just how many songs have been written about time? Multiply it by hundreds. And that's the number of timepieces at Scott Child's Old Time Clock Shop.
Could save time in a bottle.
Scott Child's Old Time Clock Shop. 1946 West 13th Street North in the heart of Riverside.
The time of my life.
When it comes to cleaning homes, dust, grime, and soap scum don't stand a chance when a team of highly trained dirt assassins from the Maids hit the scene. Ruthlessly efficient, trained in a 22-step process perfected through years of practice by the Maids. These masters of messes have only one motto: we fight dirty. Call now for a free estimate and schedule every other week service. Call the Maids, 316-832-9058. or visit maids.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, otherwise partly sunny and 72. Tonight, partly cloudy and 56 with gusty winds. Tomorrow, chance of showers and storms 8 to 2. Showers expected after 2, gusty winds, and a high around 68. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:35, it's currently 48 degrees.
This segment of the Voice of Reason on KQAM brought to you by Riverside Cafe, home of the 3-pound burger and hand-cut fries, plus breakfast all day long. 2 Wichita locations and 824 North Baltimore in Derby. Riverside Cafe. Talk trendy.
Oh my God, yes, more.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Hey, welcome into it. 35 minutes past the hour right here on the Voice of Reason. It is a Friday, which makes it a heck of a good day. There's a crazy vote that happened yesterday, which was not a good day, and we need to get your thoughts on it. Susan Humphries, State Representative, she'll be joining us at 8 o'clock here in just a little bit to chat about the vote and some other things as they wrap up the session. Now, here's the thing. They're off, I want to say next week, I think. And then they'll be back just for the short little span here in a few weeks again. So they are beginning to wrap up, and they passed the education bill that allows more money. Why not just throw more money in? Hours after both chambers passed this, the Schools for Fair Funding already filed the lawsuit to continue on the fight for more money because it's just not enough. It's time for our Pass It or Exit of the day.
I'm in a nightmare hallucination.
It's time to pass it or exit.
All right, so we're getting some more votes when it comes to the Facebook Live, a couple of emails. Now, here's the details, and the question is, if you could vote, if you are a city council member, county commissioner, would you allow a business that has free groceries for the low-income areas? And here's how this one's set up. Brad Paisley, as you may have saw the story about this, Brad Paisley starting the groundbreaking for his business that allows free groceries. Now, this is going to be in conjunction with Belmont campus, Belmont University, and it's going to be right next to the university's Ministry Center, which also provides health care and legal aid ministry clinics. Paisley said the model takes away the sting of embarrassment for a parent who may feel that way because they can't feed their kids. The mechanism, horse for the kids on the outside of the store will be free. The little horse riding thing, the kids should know. Should not know what their parents are going through at this time. That's not the stress that a child needs. It's a great message. It's a great idea. My question to you is that if this is this any different than like a charitable thing like the ministry gives, a ministry or a church gives with like the soup line or, some type of charity that they give, which we're all about. I mean, we're all about helping the less fortunate, getting them back up on their feet, helping to get them to where they're not needing to be needy anymore. We love that idea. That's what it's all about. That's humanity. That's what humanitarians do, is actually help individuals. Nothing against that. And that's what Brad Paisley is wanting to do. Now, Brad Paisley has been on progressively the more left side of the aisle. And the question is being more of an established type business-like entity, is this leading towards an entitlement mentality of saying, now I get to just go to the grocery store and get things for free? And if stuff like this begins to go away because it cannot be sustainable, because people begin to abuse it and people begin to use it more than what they usually do, does that lead towards the idea that if it does go away, that the entitlement status comes back of saying, oh my gosh, where's my free food because now I'm entitled to it. I've been receiving this for so long and I don't want it taken away. So the question is, does this lead to a negative message or is it only there for the charitable goods and it is only going to do good? I want to get your thoughts on this. 316-721-8255. The poll on Facebook right now has keep going and predominantly for the axing it. And so far the numbers that we have is about 15-8 when it comes to axing it over passing it of would you actually support the idea of a free grocery store or not. Let's go to the phones here, shall we? Line number one. I guess we lost them. That's all right. Give me a call back. We want to hear from you. 316-721-8255. Does this lead to the idea of the entitlement mentality? I mean, you always see the signs at the zoo. Don't feed the animals. Don't feed the animals. You see the signs at the out in the wilderness. Don't feed the animals because then they'll be coming to try and break into your garbage and try and do things. And, we don't want that. Okay. There's a mental status here, a psychological status here that we need to look at. Do we want to take care of people? Absolutely. But for how long and for how much until we say, you know what, you have now become so dependent that you're used to this. How do we get you up and over that hump? We're not against taking care of people, obviously. That's what humanity does. But what's the difference between taking care of them to get them back on their feet and just saying, you know what, you're dependent, we got you covered. It's all going to be good. What's the difference there? 316-721-8255. Let's go to the phones here. Line number one. Good morning. Who's this?
Morning, brother. Joe.
Joe, good morning, sir. How are we doing?
I'm blessed, man. You?
Hey, living the dream every day.
I know you are. Hey, it's just another charitable grocery store. I mean, our church did it. The thing that we noticed after, I think it was a couple of years of doing it, we had the same people showing up every week, getting basically the same thing every week. I mean, and we actually closed our pantry and moved it to His Helping Hands, and now they distribute it out because they, I guess they monitor people or help them or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, if it's a charitable, 401c or 501c or whatever, congratulations, you can do this. But I think you're on the right path. I think what's going to happen, you're just going to see the same people coming back every week, and then once word gets out, everybody's going to start showing up for this place. I mean, I get what he's doing, but
the heart's in the right place. But is it in the long way? Like Jesus said, teach a man to fish instead of giving him the fish. You give a fish every day. He eats for a day. You teach a man how to fish. You feed him for a lifetime, sort of thing. And look, we're all about charity. I'm not trying to be like the heartless jerk. Heck with the poor people and the sick. That's not what we're about here. We're like, let's give you something. But at what point, do you see the same people coming in every single weekend, just expecting it because it's always there, so they don't have to worry about anything else?
And exactly what I was saying. And where do you step in and say, okay, look, we need to help you so that you're not here every week? What is the this is the problem. There's no stepping stones to help you get from point A to point Z or whatever. There's no way to help you get off of this continuous hamster wheel if you're just constantly on the system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just see this as another crutch to keep you on the system.
And that's what we don't want. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And I'm back to, like you said, I'm not heartless. Trust me, been there, done that. But I want to figure out how to get people from being so that they can. And I realize there are people out there who cannot take care of themselves, and I understand that. And God bless them that, we can help those people.
Right.
Those are the ones that, truly I understand those people. It's the ones that abuse the system are the ones that we need to work to get off the system.
Mm-hmm. No, you're absolutely right. You're right, Joe. I appreciate that very much. And I guess the other way to look at this is, we don't want the government social programs, the government goodies, the government welfare, the government handout, as Sean had mentioned before the bottom of the hour. And this isn't. This is the private charity. And as you know, and just like Dave Ramsey talks about, just like what we talk about as conservatives, that when we are able to self-sustain ourselves because you're not taking our tax money, you're not raping us of our resources, you're not trying to take every bit of our wealth, when we have our own personal wealth, we're able to give wealth back to others. We're able to tithe with our church. We're able to actually donate. We're able to actually help out. We're able to take care of the needy and take care of our neighbors and our loved ones because that's what we do, and that's what humanity is supposed to do. So this is a private charitable thing, and it's a wonderful thing that the mindset, the thought process of what he's doing, that's great. But if it's in a business established type of mentality, does it lead to Not taken away from the charity part of it, but does it lead to the psychological realm of, oh, there's free stuff right there, I'm going to go get the free stuff as opposed to the things that I could potentially afford, but I don't want to because there's free stuff right there, and why are they getting it free if I'm not getting it free sort of mentality. That's human nature, and we have to recognize that. So is it charity or is it creating dependency? And will there be some type of movement thereafter? I mean, we've heard the extreme fringe progressives that have said, how dare that you charge for water, how dare that you charge for food, and that you have to pay for that stuff because that's not right, because those are basic human needs, and therefore basic human needs should not be something for profit for others. When we look at it as well, we're providing a service. And if you don't want to charge for it, then go grow your own stuff and do your own thing. But we're providing a service to some degree. Is it expensive? Yeah. How about Kansas with the 7th highest sales tax on food? Something to think about there, right? So is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? And pass it or exit. If you had the opportunity to say yes or no to a free grocery store in the Wichita area or in your community, would you support that type of mentality? Is it charitable, or is it just a socialist mentality of you deserve free stuff? Let's go back to the phones here. Line number 2. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, it's John Libertarian.
John the Libertarian. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks, Andy.
Yeah.
As long as there's no tax dollars involved, I've got to be for this. I mean, I get that you can create that that entitlement mentality, but I'm not going to deny a charity out of some fear of a hypothetical secondary or tertiary effect. It's still free. It is. There's no tax dollars involved, and that's always my biggest concern: is where is government coming into this? And if government isn't actually getting involved and mucking things up, then voluntary charity is how the poor and the less fortunate were always taken care of before we instituted welfare. And it's the way that it should be. And, if it does create this mentality of entitlement that you're speaking of, well, that's something that we have to battle later on. I can't turn down a charity just because of what could happen.
Sure. No, you're absolutely right, and that's a great point. I like the idea, and personally, I would be for it again, as you mentioned, because it's a private thing and it's not a government entity saying, "Oh, hey, we're going to provide this from end on out." This is going to be a private business that's saying, "You know what, we're going to give this a shot because we want to give back, and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do what we can." And I give all the kudos in the world to an idea like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it weird and just thinking, it seems like it's more of an established business type entity, where is this going to be the new business form that we're going to see from now on and demanded by society because of this? Or is it just another type of, church soup line, charitable type of thing where we get to provide stuff to the needy in the area? The way that this seems to be portrayed is it's almost like a business model now of we're going to give away the free product. And I just don't want in today's times for that to be the new standard for businesses to be expected from certain groups.
Well, like I said, that's a bridge we can cross when we come to it. As you mentioned earlier, I really don't see this being sustainable. And so, when or if it fails, you might have that small segment that demands it free from the government now, and then that's a fight that I would fight.
Sure.
That's where I would jump in and reject it. But so long as it's charitable dollars, it's voluntary dollars, and people are volunteering their time and doing so, with freedom, I can't oppose it.
Very interesting, John the Libertarian. Appreciate that very much. It's great thoughts. And look, there's no right or wrong answer on this one. And we've had some really good mixture on this one, saying it, it's a private entity, so let's let them do their thing. And I agree. It's a private entity. All the power to you. Is it going to be self-sustaining? It's going to be very difficult. And they're going to be hopefully asking for the donations and doing the donation thing and people volunteering and helping out. And you know what? That's awesome. That is a huge way to help the community. That's a great way to do it. My one concern is if people just get so accustomed to that, does that discourage them to want to go and build themselves back up to get out of that situation? Or is it like, it's going to be there, so you know what, we can always fall back on it, and they don't necessarily try as much. Remember, and we talk about this on social programs from the government, that social programs are supposed to be so painful and so horrible to live your life on that you want to be on them as small in as limited amount of time as possible. It's supposed to be the worst thing. It's not supposed to be to get the most nutritional foods. It's not supposed to be about getting the most delicious foods. It is supposed to be getting the most raw, basic, gross thing that you've ever had that you cannot sustain your body on in order for you to say, you know what, I cannot do this. I need to get off this. I need to be able to move up. That's the way social programs should work, personally. Now, personal charitable givings should be different to some degree, right? You know, you want to take care of them. We are a giving species. We want to take care of others that are less fortunate. That's our goal, and we need to have the ability to self-sustain ourselves so we can do that. But where's that line? Where's the line? That tug of war, the good, the bad. Yeah, we want to help out, but to what extent to where people just become dependent on that? Very interesting. Let's go back to the phones here, shall we? Line number 3-316-721-8255. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning, Andy. It's Ron.
Ron, good morning, sir. How are we doing?
I'm doing great. Good conversation. Now, I'm going to put another put on it.
Okay.
What gives us the right to tell someone else how they spend their money?
Sure. Absolutely. And that's why if this is a private thing and he's doing it with his own money, then, you know, all the power to him.
Yeah, we're supposed to be about rights, which we're supposed to have. And like I said, we all know that eventually those things are going to fail.
Sure.
Because too many people are going to get on it that actually don't belong on it.
Sure. So you're saying let's lead by the example and let them do this and let them be charitable and then watch it fail and be like, you know, look, you know, people just become dependent on this stuff and, you know, you learn by experience sort of thing.
Well, yeah, but like I said, you need to encourage them because there are the people that really need those that help out there.
Absolutely.
But we should not think that we have the right to tell someone else they don't have the right.
Sure. No, you're absolutely right. And as we mentioned, you know, the private charity, the private way that he's doing it with his own money, all the power to him because he wants to do something for the community. So we say congratulations to him and good for him for doing that. So you're absolutely right, Ron. I appreciate that. Interesting conversation all across the board. The good, the bad, the dependency, the lack of dependency, and the moving on up in the ability for people to take care of others. That's what it's all about. Let's sneak in one more here before we take a break, shall we? Line number 1 at 316-721-8255. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, it's Deacon.
Deacon, what's going on, sir?
Oh, man, living the dream out here, brother.
Every day.
You know, and some of the people that were calling in, I agree with them 100%. You know, it's his own money. Let him do what he wants to. I think it's stupid because instead of putting money into a, you know, feeding the animals kind of thing, why don't they, you know, put the money into something where they'll learn a skill so that way they can take care of themselves. But, you know, it's not my money. He can do what he wants to with it.
Sure. And that's kind of how I feel. You know, yeah, if I wanted to help out, if I had the money Brad Paisley had and I wanted to do something for the community, I would create some type of workforce help to try and get people who are low income, who don't have a job, who are struggling in order to get them into the workplace. And I would create something like that and say, you know what, let's find opportunities for you no matter what your disability may be, no matter what your qualifications may be. Let's get you into the workforce and get you trained up on something so that way you can get in there. Right now, we have a rock bottom unemployment rate. And wages are going up all over the place because when you have less people to actually expand the jobs because there's less people actually looking for work, then the only way you could do it is to raise the salaries up in order to get more qualified people and to raise the standard level of all the work right now. So with the rock bottom unemployment, with the economy rocking the way it is, personally, if you want to help the community, that would be me, is let's create an organization and a program that helps people that are needy, that are unfortunate, that may have had an addiction, that may have had struggles, that may have had problems that fell and, you know, and fell and harmed their life in some ways. Let's get them back on track, get them through that process and get them back into the workforce. That would be more beneficial of training that person to fish rather than giving them that free fish for the day. But again, like you said, it's his money. You can do whatever you want to. But to me, that would be more beneficial in the long term. That would be more successful.
Yeah, and, you know, there's another verse that people forget where Jesus spoke. Let him who will not work not eat. We're supposed to take care of those who can't. But the ones who won't, they're on their own, brother.
Sure. Right there with you. Deacon, I appreciate that. Interesting. All across the board. Really great conversation on this one. Let's keep it rolling when we come back. 316-721-8255. You can also do the poll on Facebook. Many people are doing that one. We'll get the final numbers with that when we come back. Susan Humphries, State Representative. She'll be with us at 8 o'clock as well. Rocking and rolling today on a Free-for-All Friday here on The Voice of Reason. Stay tuned.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. Live cattle futures saw $1.65 to $2.57 gains on Thursday. Feeder cattle futures were up from $1.32 to $2.85 in the front months. The feeder cattle index was up 44 cents April 3rd at 142.88. Wholesale boxed beef prices mixed Thursday afternoon. Choice boxes were up 60 cents at 226.74. Select boxes were 61 cents lower at 218.36. USDA estimated federally inspected cattle slaughter so far this week, 477,000 head. That's 2,000 head fewer than last week, 19,000 head more than the same week a year ago. The weekly export sales report showed a much improved 20,472 metric tons in beef sales for the week of March 28. Lean hog futures posted 242 to limit higher gains on Thursday in most contracts. Nearby April stuck close to cash and 50 cents higher. The CME Lean Hog Index was up another 92 cents from the previous day at 77.70 April 2nd. Pork carcass cutout value $1.95 higher at 82.22. The National Base Hog Carcass price $1.15 higher at 76.37 in the afternoon report. Estimated federally inspected hog slaughter 1.906 million head through Thursday. Refocusing now, corn, soybeans, wheat. Corn futures are trading 1.5 to 2.5 cents a bushel lower this morning as President Trump is threatening new tariffs on Mexican imports as part of border security. Soybean futures are mostly 5 to 6 cents lower this morning after ending Thursday with gains of 7 to 7.75 cents. And wheat futures are 5 to 6 cents lower in Chicago and Kansas City. Minneapolis spring wheat is down about a penny. Taking a look at where we are right now, May soybeans down 5.5 at 9.01. Each of the later months is also lower. May corn down 2 at 3.63 1/4. May Kansas City wheat down 5.5 at 4.34. July KC wheat down 5 3/4, 4.39 1/2. Markets, Mid-America Ag Network.
Joe and the guys at Carl's Goodyear, well, they are nice guys. That's the only way to describe them. Need new tires? Got you covered. Flat tire fixed? Done. Tune-up? Oil change? Brakes? Exhaust? Radiator? You get the idea. They do almost everything for your vehicle. They will also give you a ride when your car is in the shop. Nice guys who know auto repair, but above that, they know people and treat them like they would want to be treated. Carl's Goodyear, right on the corner of Market and Waterman, 264-5385.
You're invited to Wichita Tractor's Spring Open House. Have a hard time making it to last year's 3-day event? How about this year's open house for the entire month of April? This year's Wichita Tractor Spring Open House will include Kubota equipment. Wichita Tractor is the only dealer in South Central Kansas to offer the complete line of Kubota equipment and will be selling it all at the best prices of the year. While you're browsing at the open house, register to win door prizes, including a brand new riding mower. Wichita Tractor's open house for the entire month of April.
Save big.
Guys, welcome to Bad Boy Country.
You're invited to Wichita Tractor Spring Open House. Couldn't make it to last year's 3-day event? How about the entire month of April? Browse all the Wichita Tractor lineup, including Bad Boy, Polaris, and the entire line of Kubota equipment at the best prices of the year. While browsing, enter to win door prizes, including a new Bad Boy mower. Wichita Tractor Spring Open House the entire month of April. Win a Bad Boy mower and save big at Wichita Tractor.
Spring is right around the corner. Your truck is getting excited because it knows it's almost time to go out and play. I've got Bob Shippers with me from Continental Truck Accessories down on South Broadway. Bob, it is the season to get the trucks ready for playtime.
Absolutely, Rick. Get your truck ready with a new Sentry or ATC topper or lid, soft cover, tonneau cover, roll-and lock, grill guard, and don't forget their hitches, receivers, and fifth wheels to be able to tow your boat, camper, and your other play toys.
See Continental Truck Accessories at 6701 South Broadway.
Catch the latest news with Stephanie Austin right here on the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM, KQAM.
A very interesting conversation indeed. We'll continue it on in hour number 3. Get your thoughts on it if you want to. The Pass It or Axe It wrapping up today.
I'm in a nightmare hallucination.
It's time to pass it or exit.
And with all the votes coming in, email, Facebook, social media, all that good jazz, the final score for the exit, if you had the vote to allow and I guess with the requirements or stipulation of a government-regulated free grocery store, that would X by 25 to 15 on our here. But again, with the Brad Paisley one, the private entity, the private money going in, not a whole lot we could do about that, and we'll see how long it lasts. I give him credit for wanting to do something for the community, and we'll see how far it goes. Very interesting. Speaking of grocery stores, we got some interesting news from grocery stores with a conversation we've had a long time ago about grocery bags. As more beginning to end those, we'll do that hour number 3 too. Susan Humphries, State Representative, coming up. Stay right here. Here's some simple math for you. Chevy cars and trucks just cost less at Countryside Motors in Wellington. You want the best price on a Silverado in Kansas or Oklahoma? Check out Countryside Motors in Wellington. Are you looking for that perfect SUV? They have the great selection of Buick Enclaves, Envisions, and Encores, again, at the best prices anywhere. Countryside Motors in Wellington. Folks, it's simple math. For the best prices on cars and trucks, check out Countryside Motors in Wellington. Online at countrysidemotors.net. Simple math. Best prices. Come on out to the country and save. Countryside Motors in Wellington, Kansas.
Hi, this is Phil Martinez at Phil's Coins. At the shop, we talk all the time about honesty and integrity. And in our shop, we've decided that honesty means nothing without integrity. So what I would tell you is that if you didn't bring your coins to Phil's Coins, honestly, you didn't get enough money for what you have. Come see us at Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central, or online at philscoins.com.
This is a Steckline Communications station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita proud. It's time for the latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by The Laundry Station, Kansas's premier laundry services provider in the Wichita area. Centrally located on Oliver and Kellogg. The Laundry Station.
Good morning, I'm Stephanie Austin. The fog should dissipate around 11 a.m., but you may want to add an extra couple minutes to this morning's commute. Otherwise, we're looking at a beautiful day. One person was seriously injured when a pickup truck collided head-on with a semi hauling fuel in McPherson County. The crash happened around 9:15 yesterday morning on U.S. Route 56 between Canton and Galva. Trooper Ben Gardner with the Kansas Highway Patrol said the semi-driver was not hurt, but the driver of the pickup was taken to the local hospital. The cause of the crash is still under investigation. Wichita police say a detective was charged with misdemeanor battery after an incident with a co-worker. Police spokesperson Charlie Davidson said in a news release yesterday that Rick Craig was placed on unpaid leave until investigators determined whether he violated police department policies. Davidson did not provide details of the event. The Wichita Eagle reports court documents say that between April 1st and May 30th of 2018, Craig contacted another person in a rude, insulting, or angry manner. Sedgwick County District Judge David Dahl issued a protective order that forbids Craig from contacting the coworker. The Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office is investigating the incident. A plan to build a new $10.4 million WSU Student Athletic Success Center and renovate parts of Charles Koch Arena is moving forward. The project has two main components. The largest is the construction of the Student Athlete Success Center, a 36,000 square foot facility devoted to the academic and athletic development of students in WSU sports programs. The two-level building will be located just south of Charles Koch Arena. A smaller component of the project is renovation of administrative offices inside Charles Koch Arena to create more space for men's basketball, women's basketball, and volleyball programs. It looks like the weather is going to cooperate for the Starlight Drive-In's grand reopening tonight. Opening ceremonies begin at 6:15. Here's Doug Downs with the sports.
Jacob Junis, the starting pitcher for the Kansas City Royals, gave them 6 solid innings yesterday in their matchup against the Detroit Tigers, but once again, the Royals bullpen gave up 2 runs in the 7th, and the Kansas City Royals lost 5-4. Kansas City and Detroit will resume the series tomorrow and end it on Sunday. The Wichita State Shocker baseball team will start a series on the road at Tulane. First pitch today will be at 6:30. The Shockers have won their last 6 games in a row. The Shocker softball team is on the road to start a 3-game series with conference leader UCF. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Coming spring 2019.
Hail.
Ouch.
Wind. Freezing temperatures. Tornadoes. That's mayhem.
Hi, I'm Mark Collier, your local Allstate agent. We're your insurance agency interested in doing what's best for you. Before mayhem strikes, call us at our Goddard office, 316-413-4014, and find us on Facebook at Collier Allstate. Are you in good hands?
For nearly 2 decades, NextEra Energy Resources has proudly partnered with Kansas to fuel economic growth. Yes, friends, today that company's looking to continue that growth by developing a new wind energy center in Reno County. Hey, I've personally met many folks at NextEra. They're good people. Company's doing a lot of good in our state. The Pretty Prairie Wind Energy Center will contribute millions of dollars to Reno County and create hundreds of good-paying jobs. Wind energy, you know, is very compatible with farming, and the Pretty Prairie Wind Energy Center will add great value to the community. The Pretty Prairie Wind Energy Center represents an opportunity to harness the natural American wind resource, improve local roads, schools, and help residents provide for their families. Folks, the Pretty Prairie Wind Energy Center means a big investment in Reno County and a big boost to the local economy.
The latest news from the Big Talker, KQAM.
President Trump is flying to the California border with Mexico today to examine a segment of the border wall. Correspondent Nick Watt is in Calexico, California this morning.
There are protests planned down here for today. Organizers have called for those protests to be peaceful but loud, and one of the groups involved is bringing that big inflatable baby Trump wearing a diaper. They want the president to see that.
Former Vice President Joe Biden supporters say he is still preparing for a presidential campaign. Biden will speak to a union meeting today in Washington, his first public appearance since a number of women have said that his physically affectionate behavior in the past had made them uneasy. One person has been shot, another arrested at Naval Air Station Oceana in Virginia Beach, Virginia this morning. More than 10,000 active duty Navy personnel and their families call the base home. Oceana was locked down, but the lockdown has now been lifted. I'm Christopher Cruz.
Your local weather on KQAM, brought to you by Jewelry Savers. Conveniently located off K96 on Greenwich Road. The Kansas trusted jewelry source since 1971. Jewelry Savers.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, otherwise partly sunny and 72. Tonight, partly cloudy and 56 with gusty winds. Tomorrow, chance of showers and storms 8 to 2. Showers expected after 2, gusty winds, and a high around 68. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 8:06, it's currently 48 degrees.
Join me for Armed American Radio live Sunday at 7 right here on the Big Talker, KQAM.
It's time for Reason.
The legislators, you cannot continue to go on and say that people don't have money for schools when we're spending more money than we've ever spent on schools in the history of the existence of the states. You cannot say that we've stripped away money from schools. That's not factually correct. It may be emotionally what you feel, but factually it is not true in any way, shape, or form. We're spending more money than we've ever spent in our existence as a state on education.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting on YouTube. Check it out, youtube.com. Find KQAM Radio. You can subscribe to the page, watch us live, leave a comment, watch all the podcasts, all that good jazz on a free... Oh, that's right. It's a free-for-all Friday. Yeah, come on. That means today, whatever's bothering you, troubling you, it doesn't matter. Let's have some fun, do the thing, advancing conservatism each and every day the way that we do best right here on the show. Come on. 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. If you're going to join into the program, we'd love to hear from you. We have a lot to get to, so let's jump right into it. As you know, yesterday the legislature, with our Kansas update, of the day, and kind of a frustrating day as it was. But let's get into our Kansas update.
Today in Kansas.
All right, I'm ready.
Yeah, there it is. All right, so Kansas lawmakers voted on the education funding bill yesterday, getting it to the governor's desk. The House passing it 76-47. It passed overwhelmingly in the Senate with a 31-8 vote, and off to the governor's desk with the $90 million in additional funding that continues. By the way, it's not just $90 million; it's $90 million every year. $90 million this year, $90 million next year on top of that, $90 million on top of that for the next 4 to 5 years, along with whatever we've been doing with the automatic increases. I think we're now increasing it close to like $600 or $700 million every single year between what we did before and what we're doing it now. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's less on that. But, I mean, this is ridiculous. There's a lot of money going in here. And here's the shocker. According to the Associated Press, the legal side, the Schools for Fair Funding, and the attorneys have again said that it's just not enough. As Attorney John Robb predicted Thursday, the Kansas Supreme Court will reject the plan that was passed by the legislature, that was initiated by Governor Laura Kelly, for the plan on education funding, increasing it by $90 million a year, and now they want more. So hours after the vote took place in both chambers, now the Schools for Fair Funding already restarted the litigation to go back and say, hey, guess what? We still want more money. So to talk all about that, and there's a lot of stuff going on outside of the education bill as well. So let's get into it with our next guest. I'm really excited to have her on the program. State Representative Susan Humphries hanging out with us here. Susan, how are you today? Happy Friday.
Oh, thank you, Andy. It's good to be here with you and your listeners. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on, and you guys went through the ringer yesterday. It is, I got to say it, we are getting more and more frustrated from us sitting back here and saying, oh, look, governor's agenda just got passed overwhelmingly in both chambers, and now we get to increase more spending. What do you think?
It was a very frustrating day because we feel like the plan that was put before us was the governor/Senate plan, and the Senate was all over it, and we basically had to say, well, okay, this is the plan that we vote on. And so, a number of us voted against it for the reason that it doesn't have accountability, it doesn't target the spending, it's just a blank check, here it is, and I don't think it's going to I kind of agree with the Schools for Fair Funding that the court's going to say, no, that's not enough. And then where are we?
Yeah, this was going to be the year, and we remember at the beginning of this session, Senate President Susan Wagle said that we're going to draw the line this year. We're actually going to figure this out. We're not going to move forward anymore with this, and it doesn't seem like that's happening. We've given in, essentially, and said, all right, here's what you requested. Us thinking, hey, you know what, that's good. We're going to be good from here on out. But the litigation's already starting again. We're starting the cycle all over again, and it's going to be there's going to be no end in sight. I still don't see any end in sight, which I think is the most frustrating part for most people.
It is, and there were a couple plans that were put forward by the House that really specifically addressed the court's decision about the inflation increase, and we said, here's what we're going to do on this, here's what we're going to do on this. We're targeting it. And I would have voted on that plan because I think the courts would have heard a really compelling argument as to why we met what they wanted. Sure. But what we did this time was just $90 million for 4 years and didn't really say how it addresses their opinion. So I think they have an opportunity to say, nope, this isn't it. This isn't going to be enough.
The stuff that you guys were talking about, and we talked to a State Representative, Christy Williams, I believe on Monday earlier this week, as she heads up the Education Committee, and they were talking about trying to actually put in some regulations, saying that the majority of the money needs to go into the classroom for the teachers, for the students, for the resources. Did that stuff get included into the final bill, or is that some of it that ended up not getting included?
It did not. Christy did a great job on trying to get a lot of policy in the bill, and to be honest, the Senate just wouldn't budge. We did get some transparency issues in there. We got that policy put in, but as far as the certification from where is the money actually going, we did not get that, and then the amount. So it was, Christy did a great job, but it was frustrating. They came to a place where neither one would budge, and the House finally said, okay, you've got, the Senate overwhelmingly is okay with the governor's plan. So
Wow.
That's what we had to vote on yesterday.
And by the way, that's with the Republican majority in the Senate as well, just for those that are not aware of that. That you're right. And it's and I could sense the frustration with Christy Williams on Monday as well, where she said, we're trying this, and we're going to, if we can't fight the courts on the amount of money, then we're going to at least force them to say this is the amount of money that goes into where it needs to go, so that way we can fund it adequately and we can actually have the test scores and the graduation rates or wherever they need to be based on the money actually being appropriated directly, which would be the compromise that I would be okay with, but we didn't even get that. So where did I would say that I would say that when it came to the compromise side, we compromised just about everything that we were trying to fight for this year.
And it's so true. And the speaker, in a rare appearance from the well yesterday, laid out 6 things are going to happen for this to actually work. We're going to have to keep taking from the KDOT bank. We're not going to pay our capers. Food sales tax is not going to be reduced. Your taxes are going to go up. The Supreme Court's going to have to decide favorably, and we can't have a recession. For this plan to actually work in the out years and us not be underwater again, all of those things are going to happen, and they're not going to happen, and I don't want them to happen. I don't want to keep taking the highway money and not pay capers, and I'd love for food sales tax to go down. So
isn't that stuff that Governor Laura
we were just locked in, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that the stuff that Governor Laura Kelly planned and said on the campaign trail that she didn't want to do anymore, didn't want to rob the capers funds anymore, she didn't want to raise sales taxes, didn't want to raise taxes at all. She actually wanted to lower sales tax on food, but ended up vetoing that bill as well. So while she said she wanted to do that stuff, now we go down to a 1-year budget cycle where we can at least say we can at least fund it this year, but next year, regardless of what the economy does, what our spending increases automatically is going to be like, we're going to have to come out of a hole now and look at potential revenue generators again for the state, right?
Absolutely. In the out years, this plan, it's just undoable. We can't do it.
Wow.
So,
I don't know where the silver lining is on this one. I always try and find the positive side. I don't know where to find it on this one.
There was a group of us that were pretty discouraged yesterday because we want the schools to be funded adequately. We're good with that, but we want it to go to teachers, to classrooms, to instruction.
Right.
And so it was, we didn't get that either.
So what's the next step? We're talking about State Representative Susan Humphries. What's the next step here? I'm assuming the governor's going to sign it. She came out with her Twitter statement yesterday saying that she's very proud of the bipartisan work and we're taking care of the children. So she's going to sign this. Where do we go from here? Do we just ride it out this year? And like the Supreme Court always says, well, we won't shut down the schools this year. It'll fund it for this year, but you guys better look at it again next year. And then we just start the whole thing over again in January.
That's what I suspect. The oral arguments are due April 15th, and then the court will hear it. I think they'll come out with a decision by the end of June is what people are saying. So we'll see. We'll just see what happens. But I can't imagine that they're going to say, you finally got it. This is right. We're done. No more lawsuit. Why would they? They've got the power right now. So, and the only silver lining, Andy, is that maybe if that's how they rule, then finally enough of us get angry and say we have tried and tried and tried, and we're finally going to really have to do something about it. That's the silver lining I can see.
I hope so, but this has been going on for, at least the last 5 years, really the last 30 years or so, and we haven't hit that point. Yep. So the question is, when will we hit that point? Because I don't know that we ever will. I don't know.
I know.
Outside of that, today I know you guys are kind of wrapping some things up, and you have some time off after today, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we should finish today, and then we have basically 3 weeks off. We come back May 1st.
May 1st. Good deal. Now, what are some of the other discussions that have been going on up there other than the education that happened, which kind of, took precedent, obviously, yesterday, but some appropriation stuff you guys were considering looking at, but you ended up not doing? What else is going on?
Right. So there was a conference committee on the appropriations and Ways and Means, and they were hoping that they would get that in front of us today and we could vote on it. But apparently that's not going to happen because there's some disagreement. They've agreed on 151 items, the Senate and the House. But there's 2 things still in the mix that they can't quite come to an agreement on, so they're going to push that off. Because to send us a conference committee report, they have to have agreed on all the differences in the 2 bills that the House and the Senate. So one of them is that the Pooled Money Investment Board, if we're going to pay that back, the Senate wants to pay it back. The House, interest-free. The House is saying let's stay on this 3-year plan. I mean, this may be too much in the weeds, but just some differences between the House and the Senate. So we're going to hold that off until we come back May 1st to do our big, there's the mega bill and there's the omnibus bill that wraps it all together. So we'll be waiting on that till we come back in May.
Fun. So we're going to get a couple omnibus. We're going to get a nice big omnibus bill without even a lot of the appropriations. It sounds like this is wrapping up to be a solid, grand type of legislative session.
One thing that may happen today is a conference committee report about the Farm Bureau health plan. That's in an insurance conference committee report, and that's offering a lower, some affordable health care to folks that haven't had it before, and I think that's a positive thing. Good. And so that's one thing good that might happen today that we're hoping on.
That would be nice. It's some actual other options. I know that the big debate a couple weeks ago was, of course, the Medicaid expansion that did pass through the House. The Senate's trying to hang on to try and keep it below the line, which I have to ask. I know, and I saw you out at the Legislative Forum last weekend, and the fun activists that come out to that and try to make their stance. Does that really change the minds of someone like you and like Michael Capps, who spoke very vocally against it during the forum? Of these activists that show up to everything trying to bully you into saying that you need to support Medicaid expansion. That was a fun discussion to watch.
It was. I like going to those because I like hearing what people are thinking. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it changes our minds because we know what the view is. But we also have the bigger picture. And they're getting talking points from their associations or organizations, but they don't see the big picture, which we have to look at. The big picture supersedes this one specific example that they're talking about. Mm-hmm. And so, I like hearing people's concerns. I want to address those concerns, but I don't find their arguments compelling in how we need to completely change our economy and actually tank the Kansas economy with that specific thing. But
sure, yeah. Well, it's something that I don't think is going to go away, and if it doesn't happen this year, they're going to try again next year. So we just got to keep our guard up on that one. But at least we can maybe move forward with some other options and other possibilities to take care of it, to where people eventually start coming out and saying, "Okay, I'm actually covered now. I really don't need a government expanded."
Exactly. Isn't that better? Wouldn't that be so much better if people had their own plans? I mean, that's the beauty of these other getting creative and how we address people's health care needs. That's what we need to do.
Exactly. And I give credit to someone like the Kansas Farm Bureau that tried their option. It didn't go through this year, but it's an opportunity for someone to say, you know what, let's try something different, and maybe we can start moving forward with that a little bit later on down the road.
Yeah, but I think they might get that today. We'll see how that goes today.
Oh, that's still an opportunity then.
It is. It is still on the table.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought that was dead. So good. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can revive something like that. So
not dead.
I love it. I love it. Last couple questions before we let you go. State Representative Susan Humphries, as you guys are wrapping up today for the majority of the session, but is there any opportunity to see what the budget actually looks like beyond the one-year budget? That we're talking about this, we have a nice ending balance at the end of the first year, but by year number 2, with the automatic increases we're seeing, with the potential spending we want to do, it sounds like we're going to be in the red again. What's the concern and the outlook for the next couple of years?
Well, the concern is we don't need to be doing this $90 million for the schools. And Andy, I know, there's the one thing that we didn't talk about was the veto override for Senate Bill 22. Mm-hmm. That's our taxpayer dollars that the state is actually keeping. So that keeps that balance afloat a little bit longer. But I think we'll keep trying to say to the state, that's not the state's money, we need to give it back. So I do think that gives a little bit of cushion to those people who don't want to pass Senate Bill 22 in the outbalance, but it's not the state's money. So, yeah, if taking all that into account, we're looking at tax increases, in just a couple of years. And we don't know how the revenues are actually going to come in April. Of course, that's the big one right after April 15th. So we'll kind of have to wait and see what things look like when we come back in May.
Yeah, that's really nice. I seem to remember a conversation by some Democrats and Republicans, when we overrode the Governor Sam Brownback's veto on the largest tax increase in state history, they said that was going to solve the economic problem in the state, and we would not have to raise taxes any longer, and that's why they supported that veto override. Doesn't seem to be the accurate case now looking into the next year or two.
No, because we keep spending. We don't ever cut. We just spend the extra money instead of tightening the belt.
Mm-hmm. It's very frustrating. State Representative Susan Humphries, I appreciate the time. You guys keep it up. It seemed like it was a very angering, frustrating day yesterday, and we'll see where we move forward from that. But we appreciate what you guys do each and every day, and keep up the fight up there.
And there are really good people up here. I want to make sure I get that in.
Absolutely.
Such great people working for the people. So, okay, thank you for having me, Andy.
Hey, it's always a pleasure, Susan. Susan Humphries, State Representative there. We'll get you back on the show again here real soon. Got to take a break. 23 minutes past the hour. It's open line to you when we come back. Very interesting conversation. Your thoughts on all this when we return right here on The Voice of Reason.
You're listening to The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
If you stay at this new high-tech hotel in China, don't stop at the front desk to check in and get a room key. The elevator takes you to the right floor, and your hotel room door opens automatically. Kim Commando with your Friday Consumer Tech Update, brought to you by SimpliSafe, the best security system for your home, period. Don't live in fear. Get yours at simplysafekim.com. In China, a company like Amazon.com called Alibaba is using technology like never before in a futuristic hotel. The hotel's facial recognition system allows access to elevators and rooms. Once inside your room, the system recognizes your voice and responds to commands about lights, curtains, and temperature. Robotic bartenders and chefs fix your drinks and meals based on your known preferences. See something you want to buy? Take a picture of it, and it's shipped right to you. While this is China, facial recognition technology is exploding here, too. Just face it, we don't own our faces anymore. I'm Kim Commando. For years, I've been telling you about my printer of choice, the Epson EcoTank 4750. It's revolutionary, it's wireless, and a complete all-in-one printer that's 100% cartridge-free. Now, I don't know about you, but I used to hate having my print jobs interrupted to replace an ink cartridge. Now, there's no more hassle with the Epson EcoTank 4750. It comes with up to 2 years of ink right in the box. That's enough to print up to 11,000 color pages. That's the equivalent to about 120 individual ink cartridges. If I had to go buy 120 individual cartridges, that would cost me about $1,500. I love my Epson EcoTank printer, and I know you will too. And from now till June 30th, buy any EcoTank printer at Epson.com/EcoTankKim and get free overnight shipping when you use promo code EcoTankKim at checkout.
Offer valid within the 48 contiguous states. Exclusions apply, subject to availability.
When it comes to service, repair, or installing a new Trane air conditioner or furnace, nobody's better than Moody Heating and Air Conditioning, an independent Trane comfort specialist. So it just makes sense to become a Moody priority customer and enjoy great benefits like 10% off all service repairs, no overtime fees, faster response time, and much more. Becoming a priority customer at Moody Heating and Air Conditioning? Smart. Call 262-7444. That's 262-7444 today.
Over 340 years of roofing experience, and that's just the management and estimating team. It's no wonder Ray Roofing is one of the most successful roofing companies in Kansas. As a sixth-generation family-owned business, Ray Roofing specializes in built-up, modified, cold-applied, EPDM, TPO, and tapered roofing systems. Whether the structure roof is commercial, sheet metal, or flat residential, Ray Roofing was founded on the belief that a roof is only as good as the roofer applying it. Ray Roofing, online at WRAYroofing.com.
The Miller Minute with Dennis Miller.
I want to talk about Joe Biden, who has had an increasing number of women come out to say Biden had acted inappropriately, made them feel uncomfortable. The narrative has gotten so far out of control, Biden was urged to record a video addressing the concerns, although I think I've seen ISIS hostages where the person speaking appears to be under less duress. In the video, Biden avoids apologizing to his accusers while acknowledging that times have changed and he needs to adjust his behavior. Biden's non-apologetic apology includes plans to talk to the American people a lot more soon, indicating he'll run for president, to which I'll ask why. Putting aside his affiliation and history, why would anyone willingly sign up for another year and a half of this crap when he clearly believes he's innocent? He's been scrutinized under the jeweler's loop, and he's not even in the race yet. But I guess the problem is I'm coming at this rationally, and there's nothing rational about thinking that you're the best qualified person to be the leader of the free world. And that is The Minute. I'm Dennis Miller. If you haven't tried the incredible high-quality meat from ButcherBox, you're going to be blown away. ButcherBox delivers 100% grass-fed and grass-finished beef, free-range organic chicken, and heritage breed pork right to your door. They work closely with farms and companies committed to raising animals humanely. This ensures an ethical process, one that results in a better quality, better tasting, more nutrient-dense meat with no added hormones or antibiotics ever. This meat is amazing, and ButcherBox comes at an affordable price with free shipping. You can get a month's worth of the best-tasting meat from ButcherBox for less than $6 a meal. ButcherBox is offering my listeners the ultimate breakfast bundle. 2 packs of the best-tasting bacon you've ever had and 2 pounds of their custom breakfast sausage for free, plus $20 off your first box when you sign up at butcherbox.com/Dennis. That's butcherbox.com/Dennis.
This half hour of the broadcast has been brought to you by Wildwood Cellars. Make sure to check them out. It's more than just buying a bottle of wine, but you can check out the kinds of wines that you like, not the wines that you're necessarily supposed to like. You can also taste the wines before you actually buy it, and they got their taste tester at all their locations. Wildwood Cellars down in Mulvane, just on the Turnpike, or at Maple and Ridge right here in Wichita. Try all the different flavors, the sweet, the dry, the semi-sweet, the good stuff with the elderberry, the meads made with honey, the jalapeno, the chocolate strawberry. It doesn't matter. Check them out. Nationally acclaimed vineyards right here in Kansas. Online, wildwoodcellars.com. Also at Maple and Ridge here in Wichita and down in Mulvane. Wildwood Cellars, proud sponsor here on The Voice of Reason. Stay tuned. Bottom of the hour news coming up.
Who can stop me tonight? You make me feel invincible. I feel it. Invincible. I feel it. Invincible.
Now back to the KQAM News Desk.
President Trump is heading to California soon to see a segment of the border wall. Yesterday, he said Mexico was taking action to stop the flow of migrants in response to his threat to close the border.
Mexico has brought people back. They've told people you can't come in. And that's happened really they've done, as I understand it, over 1,000 today, over 1,000 people yesterday, over 1,000 people the day before. Before that, they never did anything.
On Twitter this morning, the president said if for any reason Mexico stops apprehending and bringing the illegals back to where they came from, the U.S. will be forced to tariff at 25% all cars made in Mexico and shipped over the border to us. The Labor Department said this morning that employers added 196,000 jobs in March. It said wages have increased 3.2% over the past year. And supporters of former Vice President Joe Biden say they expect him to announce his candidacy for president after Easter. I'm Christopher Cruz.
Want a more beautiful lawn this season? The Home Depot has a few suggestions in one bag. Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action, starting at just $26.68. It feeds your lawn, it weeds your lawn, and it prevents crabgrass for up to 4 months. 3 of the most common lawn problems, 1 great solution. Today is the day for doing with Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action, starting at just $26.68 a bag. Now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. While supplies last, continental U.S. only.
Okay, here we go. Now put it in reverse.
Got it.
Now forward.
Okay.
Reverse. Now turn the wheel. Turn the wheel. No, reverse. Okay. Reverse. Slow down. Don't kill it. Kill the motor.
There's a reason they say curse like a sailor.
I said reverse.
Many reasons. Progressive's boat insurance has you covered. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Well, we're Doc now.
Mid-America Network News. The governors of 3 Midwest states ravaged by March flooding say they will push for more control over management of the Missouri River that borders their states. management of the dams and the levees along the river falls to the officials of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, who met with governors from Iowa, Nebraska, and Missouri Wednesday afternoon. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly had been slated to attend the meeting but ran into travel problems that required her to back out. An attorney representing 4 school districts suing Kansas says an education funding plan approved by lawmakers is not adequate. Attorney John Robb predicted yesterday that the Kansas Supreme Court will reject Democratic Governor Laura Kelly's plan for an education funding increase of roughly $92 million a year. Robb said it does not provide enough new money for public education after the 2019-2020 school year. I'm Stephanie Austin.
Pride Ag Ace Hardware proudly introduces the Traeger Ironwood 650 Blackwood Pellet Grill. Just one of 3 brand spanking new models of Traeger available at Pride Ag Ace Hardware. The Traeger Ironwood 650 offers 650 square inches of cooking area. And with a porcelain grate and the name Traeger, you can't go wrong. And check out the all-new grilling section at Pride Ag Ace Hardware with not only Traeger, but Big Green Egg and Weber. Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Mays.
You're invited to Wichita Tractor Spring Open House. Have a hard time making it to last year's 3-day event? How about this year's open house for the entire month of April? This year's Wichita Tractor Spring Open House will include Kubota equipment. Wichita Tractor is the only dealer in South Central Kansas to offer the complete line of Kubota equipment, and we'll be selling it all at the best prices of the year. While you're browsing at the open house, register to win door prizes, including a brand new riding mower. Wichita Tractor's open house for the entire month of April.
Save big.
Guys, welcome to Bad Boy Country.
You're invited to Wichita Tractor Spring Open House. Couldn't make it to last year's 3-day event? How about the entire month of April? Browse all the Wichita Tractor lineup, including Bad Boy, Polaris, and the entire line of Kubota equipment at the best prices of the year. While browsing, enter to win door prizes, including a new Bad Boy mower. Wichita Tractor Spring Open House the entire month of April. Win a Bad Boy mower and save big at Wichita Tractor.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, otherwise partly sunny and 72. Tonight, partly cloudy and 56 with gusty winds. Tomorrow, chance of showers and storms 8 to 2. Showers expected after 2, gusty winds, and a high around 68. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 8:35. It's currently 48 degrees.
I'm America's Digital Pro, Kim Commando. Join me for the Kim Commando Show Sunday right here on the Big Talker, KQAM, Wichita.
Spreading the love on a daily basis.
And I will always love you.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Is it just yours that get more annoying every time I hear it? Hey, welcome into the Voice of Reason. It's a Friday, baby. It's a free-for-all Friday meeting. Open line to you at 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. Thanks again to State Representative Susan Humphries joining the program. Interesting stuff, and we did take a really big blow yesterday as we continue on. I guess it's not expected. Maybe it is expected. I don't know. But the continuation of the education finance debate litigation, because the Republicans pretty much said, we don't like you, Governor Laura Kelly. We're going to stop your agenda, but we're going to allow you to increase. They see it as a compromise for a $90 million increase every year. When we said not a single penny more, they're like, okay, not a single penny more means $90 million, not $390 million a year. So the litigation, the Schools for Fair Funding already starting their litigation again right after they vote for it in a decent majority in the Senate and saying, yep, we're going to start the lawsuit all over again. We're going to continue it on because they just want to keep going with it, and they think that they are
winning.
And guess what? They actually are. So let's get your thoughts. 316-721-8255. Line number 1. Good morning. Who's this?
This is Eddie.
Hey, good morning, Eddie. How we doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing fine. I love you, Andy. Damn, you need singing lessons, boy.
No, well, let me tell you, I'm working on it. I'm trying to make it better.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to give you a little bit of facts. Okay, this is truth. It happened to a relative of mine.
Okay.
A very close relative of mine. Okay, earlier this week you were talking about petroleum pipelines coming through your property.
Yes.
Okay. Now, this is for real. This is not a joke, okay? Say you went out in the county. Well, to my relative, it wasn't Sedgwick County. It was a county close, okay? They had a petroleum pipeline that came through their property, okay? You went out and you bought 12 acres. On the 12 acres, a house, and et cetera like that. Okay, this petroleum pipeline came right through his property.
Okay.
And it wasn't noted on the deed that there was a petroleum pipeline there. And he went and built a very nice garage on top of the pipeline. A few years later, the pipeline people came through to examine the pipe and discovered that there was a garage on top of the pipeline. Would you believe, and through a court order, that garage, that is a legal easement? Pipelines have a legal easement on that pipe that comes right through your property.
Okay.
In other words, you are not legally allowed to build anything within so many feet of that pipeline that comes through your property. So when you have and what they actually had to do through some legal maneuver, anyway, the garage was torn down and moved so it wasn't over that pipeline. So people that think that it's just no big deal to have a pipeline coming through their property, remember that's an easement, that nothing permanent can be built on that property.
Sure. Well,
over that pipeline.
Well, yeah, and that's not the best situation to be in. Obviously, having to say, you know what, your garage you built is right on top of this thing, and it's not allowed to be there. What they should have done, I mean, that whole type of situation could have been avoided if they actually would have allowed the owner to know that the pipeline was there before they bought it. Right. Now, I'm assuming when they put it in originally, the original owners that were there at the time, they got some type of payment to use their land in order to build it on their property, right? I'm hoping at least.
That I do not know because they were possibly a secondary buyer of the property, but it wasn't notated. Anyway, I just want to let people need, when you have a pipeline coming through your property, boy, there's a lot of restrictions that come along with it.
Yeah, that's very true.
By the way, if we can encourage private people to have a store to give out free food, that's not a harm because that's what we want to do. Just think of all the government-issued food stamps that go to your regular Walmart right now.
Sure. No, that's true. And maybe to tie that in with what Brad Paisley's wanting to do with that free grocery stores, maybe do that to where they can accept the EBT cards, they can accept the food stamps sort of thing to say, we'll give you the free stuff. If you have the EBT cards, we'll accept those as well. But maybe they tie it in there. I don't know. So, but you're right. Again, I mean, it goes down to the private charity versus the government social program. And I take that over the government program any day of the week. I just really hope that doesn't discourage people to actually want to move up and out of that position, which some do. Obviously, some don't want to be there, and some want to say this is terrible and this is very humiliating, is what Brad Paisley mentioned it. People are humiliated. They don't want it. So most people feel, hey, I got to get rid of this situation that I'm in. Others are so accustomed to it now and used to it that they just demand it, and I hate to see that in society.
Well, I do not wish to have anyone demanding it, but I'm absolutely 100% for helping the poor.
Sure.
I mean, I live a good lifestyle, and I feel guilty sometimes when I see people riding around on bicycles going to work in the morning, and I look at my situation, I think, my God, I have it so damn good. And I guess I feel a little bit guilty, to be quite honest with you, Andy.
Sure. Hey, I'm right there with you. No, Eddie, I appreciate that, my friend. I love it.
Anyway, you have a beautiful day, and I love your program, and you just keep on a-kicking, okay?
Hey, that's what we do. You as well, Eddie. Always appreciate the phone call very much there. Appreciate that. Happy Friday to you. 316-721-8255. Line number 2 on an open line free for all Friday. Let's go to it here. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, Governor.
Hey, what's going on, sir? How we doing?
Is this me talking?
Yes, sir. It's all you. It's full rain for you.
I wasn't sure. Your delay's longer now.
Oh,
is it? Anyway,
we're trying to extend that in case anybody drops any more words on there that shouldn't be.
Yeah, like me. Like me. Dang it.
You're good. That's all right. What's going on?
What I've been hearing this morning about our new governor seems to me like she got elected on a lot of deceptions and lies about her position on things.
Pretty much.
It leads me right back to my old question about our first page of our Declaration of Independence says that we have an obligation to fire out of control government.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the gal that he was just talking to, she's up there, and surely she knows that.
Sure.
And what I can't find out is what process, as a citizen, I take to fire my out-of-control government up here in the White House, too.
It gets more and more difficult as you go along. Let's take, for example, the statewide level. If you don't like what somebody's doing, for example, like the governor of the state of Kansas, then you can do a recall process. Now, the recall consists of getting a number of petitional ballots or petition signatures in order to get enough. When you get enough, then you take it to the government and you can do a recall election. If you remember a few years ago, Wisconsin did that to Governor Scott Walker. They tried it 2-3 different times because he was fighting the public unions and was trying to fight back from their power and influence on public unions and the state unions, and was trying to get rid of them to where they couldn't have as much power as what they wanted. And they were losing their minds, and the union workers were starting the petitions, and they got enough signatures 2 or 3 different times to try and do a recall election on Scott Walker, like the most that it's ever been done on a current sitting governor. And he won the recall election each and every time because they were so angry, but they didn't have enough to do it. So we could try a recall election by getting enough signatures to do a recall to Governor Kelly. I don't know whether that would help the situation or not. We'd have to get a new Republican candidate doing a whole nother election. And I don't know if we would have enough numbers to do that, but we could definitely try it. But that's the process. If you want to get rid of the governor, then that's the process you'd have to take.
Does that apply to the Democratic Party? Do you get a petition out to fire that out of control government? Because you look at it, and everything they touch, they're messing it up.
Sure.
And I call that out of control. I've got a good example, like when our city government decided to start giving out tickets for panhandling, for the poor people, the homeless. And that was like supplementing their income.
Sure.
You know, and now it's against the law for them to be able to go out and support themselves that way, and it's causing a lot of crime.
Sure.
We used to have crime around here like every other week. Now we got one every day. Somebody's getting their house stolen, you know, and somebody's trying to break into their house or getting in their yard and stealing lawnmowers.
Sure.
And they just messed that whole deal up by cutting them off.
Sure. No, if there's policy changes that you want, then, whether it's the local, county, city level, whether it's the statewide level, then we either need to pass legislation and work with current legislators that are for you and wanting to advocate that agenda and try and get that changed. And if the legislators that you have don't do that and they're doing something farly against what you actually want to happen, then the governor, you got to do a statewide petition. If it's a legislature, you can do it within that district, but you get those petitions signed, you do a recall, and you try and get them out of office. Or you ride it out until the next election and make sure that they don't get reelected.
Well, I thank you, Andy. That helped me out a bunch. You got answers.
Hey, we try, and they may not be the best answers, but we do what we can. So, hey, I appreciate it, my friend. It's always great to talk to you, and happy Friday. And a recall election be tough. Right now, I'm not as concerned about the governor. We know what the governor's agenda. We know what she wants to do. She's been advocating for it since she ran for out. Now, she lied. Because she said she wanted to lower sales tax on food. She vetoed that bill. She said she's not going to raise taxes. Well, that's going to happen next year if we sign these bills and we continue to spend more money. And she's really just lied about everything she wanted to do. So I guess you could try that. But really, I'm more upset right now with the legislature. 31-8. 31-8 in the Senate that passed a bill that did not include stipulations on where the funding for education goes at all. They gave the governor exactly what she asked for with $90 million a year in increased education funding. The Senate side that has a Republican majority with the Senate president that said that she was going to draw the line this year and make sure that it was not going to get out of hand and we were going to finally solve this issue and not allow the Supreme Court to bully us anymore. That's the one that's fighting the governor right now on Medicaid expansion, that's fighting the governor on the progressive agenda right now, that's the chamber that just passed it without any stipulations, with increased funding for the next 5 years, $90 million each year on there, and everything that the governor wanted. As we said, we're going to fight her. That's what just happened right now with, mind you, a Republican majority in that legislature, in that chamber. A Republican majority. Now, I'm the one that likes to find the silver lining. Okay, we didn't get all we wanted, but we got a little bit of a compromise. We got a little bit of something we wanted, so it's a baby step sort of thing. I'm one that understands compromise and understands finding the middle ground here. We gave up everything. We did not get a single one tiny little tidbit of what we wanted, other than, I guess you could say, it didn't increase $400 million a year. It only increased $100 million a year. If that's a compromise to you, then wow. No stipulations on where the money is. No type of amendment or type of clause in there saying as well that this is the final time that we will raise funding and Supreme Court will never have a say in our say again, regardless of whatever their court case comes out with their decision. We didn't do anything like that. Nothing. I understand compromise. I understand working across the aisle and working and finding the middle ground to advance your agenda, even if it's a little bit. But we didn't do anything. We just said, okay. Let's go back to the phones here, shall we? Line number 3. Good morning. Who's this?
It's Wallace.
Wallace, good morning, sir. How are we doing?
Hey, not too bad. Just had a random thought.
Yes.
Listening to, the president draw his red line down on the border. Yeah, I'm going to shut it down. No, I'm not. I'm going to give you a year. And then I got to thinking, what can we do at a state level, to do something? And I just had an idea. I want to get your thoughts. And it's simply this. People that come here in the state illegally and have a kid, what would your thoughts be on issuing a non-resident birth certificate that's going to follow that? Because birth certificates are issued by the state, not by the federal government. And, yeah, it'll probably eventually pick a fight. But, it's kind of like gay marriage. You get a state marriage license. We make our own marriage laws. Well, now the feds came in and said, nope, we're going to do it.
You mean a non-resident birth certificate, as in like a legal resident that's here, just saying, you're a legal resident here, you've come across legally, you have the green card, you have whatever. Here's your birth certificate, but it's a birth certificate that shows that you were not born here in the United States. Or are you talking about illegal aliens that have this?
Illegal alien. If you're two illegal aliens that that have a child here, that Kansas is going to take a stand and say, look, your parents are they're foreign nationals, therefore you're subject to the jurisdiction of your parents' country of origin. You get a non-resident birth certificate. And if you're a citizen, you get a normal Kansas birth certificate. That way,
I don't like that idea, just because if you're illegal, then that just opens up the door, like they're doing right now, of saying, oh, let's give you a restricted driver's license. Then you say, oh, we push the other bill after that says that when you go to the DMV, you're automatically going to get registered to vote when you register yourself. Then at the same time, then we're going to allow illegal aliens to vote. I mean, it's just an opportunity for them to say, hey, look, there's a documentation this person has. Now they're valid, and we can use it to get them registered to vote and all this other jazz.
They currently get a Kansas birth certificate. There's no difference between an illegal alien being born here and a citizen. They get the same birth certificate.
I think something needs to change. I don't think that we should be. I don't know. Maybe we do say and just say, hey, you know what? Yeah, this person was born in the country, but their parents were here illegally. So we see that type of documentation. Be like, where are your parents? We got to go chat with them. Got to go congratulate them for having a great kid. And then you go and I don't know. I don't know what you do.
Well, because that way, when they go to get a driver's license, their birth certificate says non-resident.
Sure.
Well, then that means we need to change our, if they should get a driver's license, then, I know some states issue a non-resident driver's license.
Sure.
And maybe that's what we need to do. So if they try to go vote, it's like, nope, sorry, you're a non-resident.
Yeah, interesting thought. Well, also, I like that. I'm going to have to ponder that one for a little bit and see. I don't know. I mean, we have definitely a crisis. We got some issues that we need to address pretty seriously. Got to take a break, wrapping up the show today. We also have the Inman Harvest Cafe checking in with us when we come back with the Fried Chicken Friday. We'll do that wrapping up the program today on The Voice of Reason.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. Opening markets on KQAM. Brought to you by Schmidt & Sons of Mount Hope and Winfield.
Lower in the grains, mixed in the livestock. That's the way we're going to start our Friday. Let's check the ag futures markets. Brady Charles at Schwiedemann Incorporated is all the information to impart to us. Good morning, Brady.
Good morning. Well, yeah, a little bit weaker start in the grain markets this morning, and mixed in the livestock. April live cattle are down 17 at 127.37. June's down 15 at 121.42. August is down a dime at 118.12. April feeders are up 82 at 147.15. May's up 47 at 150.55. August is up 40 at 156 or 157.60. April lean hogs are up 50 at 80.07. In the grain markets, May Kansas City wheat down 6 1/4 at 433 1/4. September down 6 3/4 at 450 1/2. In the corn market, May's down 2 3/4 at 362 1/2. September's down 3 at 379 1/2. May beans down 6 3/4 at 899 3/4. July down 6 1/2 at 913. Nove down 6 at 933 1/2. May bean oils up 4 at 29.24. The meal's down 340 at 308.50. Oats steady at 288 1/2. Cotton up 34 at 77.66. And the Dow Jones is up 80 at 26,468. This has been Brady Charles from Sweeterman Incorporated. For questions on these markets, any other markets, and all your marketing needs, please give us a call at 800-272-9131 or visit us online at upthelimit.com.
You can tackle all kinds of jobs around your place with dependable, high-quality Kubota equipment. This is Leroy, the tractor man from Schmidt & Sons, inviting you to join us for our Kubota Ride and Drive event on Saturday, April 6th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at both Mount Hope and Whitfield locations. We will have food, drinks, and prizes. We have a full line of Kubota equipment, and you can get in the driver's seat. Utility vehicles, compact and high-horsepower tractors, lawn and garden tractors, zero-turn mowers, hay equipment, and farm implements. Take advantage of low-rate, long-term financing promotions going on now with Kubota, like the Kubota BX80 series that gets you any job done right. Dig, mow, haul, and it comfortably maneuvers in tight places. Get a BX80 for 0 down and 0% APR financing for 60 months. Don't miss the Ride and Drive event to get the best deal. We look forward to seeing you at Schmidt & Sons on Saturday, April 6th at Mount Hope or Winfield. Find more information at schmitting.com.
Now through June 30th, 2019, see us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information.
Hey, it's Dave Ramsey. Join me today live at 2 right here on the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM, KQAM. Now back to the voice of reason with Andy Hoosier.
5 minutes to the top of the hour as we wrap up the show today. Can you believe it? It's all said and done already. It goes by way too fast. Didn't get to everything we wanted to, but that's all right. It is a Friday, which means you can enjoy. It's a free-for-all Friday, which means you can express your views. And it's a fried chicken Friday, which means you can indulge yourself just a little bit and enjoy some wonderful, delicious fried chicken, brought to you by the Inman Harvest Cafe, 112 South Main Street in downtown Inman. I can smell the fried chicken and the bacon already. We should try bacon-wrapped fried chicken over an egg in a tortilla smothered in salsa. I'm going to try this, and we're going to check in here, Katie, with the Inman Harvest Cafe. What do you think, Katie? Do you think we can make that happen?
Good morning, Andy. Happy Fried Chicken Friday. Probably. You'll have to debone the chicken first, though, because I think if you tried to bite into it with a big bone in there, you'd regret it.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too fun. All right, so I'll debone it, and then I'll put the shredded fried chicken into wrapped in bacon in the tortilla. Yeah, I like that idea. So good stuff, you guys. This is like the most fun day you guys have every single week because you're here all day long. You have the lunch buffet, the dinner buffet, the fried chicken, the roast beef, the free slice of pie. We'll get to in a second as well. But what else is on the agenda? What are you guys having today?
Well, today we are having. Oh, ding! Did you hear that? That's our waffle, because right now chicken and waffles is a thing. So we're frying the chicken right now, so that goes with the waffle. It's a lot of fun. So besides that, we're having scalloped potatoes with tuna, and so that's just a traditional scalloped potato. And then we throw some tuna in there for those that are observing Lent. Then we're also having, chicken shepherd's pie. So a shepherd's pie is traditionally lamb.
Sure.
But we like to mix it up here, in case you hadn't noticed. So we're doing chicken with broccoli in it, and then cheese. A cheesy sauce goes over top of that, smothered in mashed potatoes.
Yes,
Yum.
that sounds delicious.
Yeah, it sounds good. It's so foggy out and it's not really cold, but it's just like, we need some comforting, warm, delicious food. So that's the other thing. Yeah, and then the other thing that we're having is Reuben meatballs, and so that's our meatballs, and then it's got sauerkraut, Swiss cheese, and a Thousand Island dressing over top of it.
So are the meatballs made of corned beef?
No, they're just regular beef, but they've got a corned beef type flavor to them. So.
I like it.
Yeah.
Reuben meatballs. I've never heard of that too. You guys I love the unique twists you guys put on stuff up there. It's always fun and a great way to keep it fresh.
Yeah, well, you can get regular food anywhere, so you might as well come here and be crazy.
Yeah, go a little crazy with it and have fun. And like you mentioned, I mean, just about all this stuff has, the main needed essential ingredient on everything, which is, of course, cheese.
Cheese is life, and I read somewhere that if the more cheese you consume, the longer you're going to live. So we're going to be immortal.
That's what I'm saying. I saw that story as well, and cheese is kind of like the essence of life there. So that is fantastic. I love it. And whatever you're having, you can always smother it. I'm curious how much cheese you guys go through in a week.
Well, it's because we have so many different kinds, so it's hard to say. But
true.
For sure, 20 pounds of shredded cheddar cheese a week, and then we've got American, we've got Swiss, we've got the white queso that kind of melts, and then I don't know, a bunch of cheese.
All different kinds
of
stuff.
All the cheeses.
Everything. Yeah. I love it. We got about a minute left here, but we cannot forget the free slice of pie tonight for the dinner buffet, 5 to 8 o'clock tonight. What type of pies do you guys have rocking today?
So today we've got a lot of pie. We've got peanut butter, peanut butter, chocolate, sour cream raisin, coconut, rhubarb custard, lemon meringue, bumbleberry, cherry, and Dutch apple, and banana split.
And banana split, but I did hear the bumbleberry in there.
Yes,
I did hear bumbleberry. That is pretty fantastic. So that is all the good stuff. Get the free slice of pie when you walk in there. Sit down. Enjoy the great stuff. The lunch buffet, 11 to 1. Dinner buffet, 5 to 8 o'clock tonight. All the good stuff, all covered in cheese. Everything all nice with the twist of excitement in there as well. It's the Inman Harvest Cafe, 112 South Main Street in downtown Inman. Katie, you guys enjoy. Happy Friday to you. You guys have a lot of fun on Fridays. We'll check in with you again here next week.
All right. Thanks, Andy. Talk to you later.
Hey, it's always a good time. We appreciate that each and every week. We love partnering up with those guys every week. Got to wrap up here. It's all done. I can't believe it. You guys are always great. We love the conversation, love the listening, love the show each and every day. We'll be back at it on Monday. Lots coming up next week. Everybody have a great weekend.
This is a Steckline Communication Station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Augusta Flight Center, with the largest and most diverse fleet of rental aircraft in central Kansas. Learn more at iflyaugusta.com.
I'm Stephanie Austin. The Wichita Police Department is looking to hire and is raising the pay to attract more candidates. Cake News reports that right now the police department has 20 openings. Candidates must have a high school diploma or a GED and be at least 21 years old. But most of all, the department is looking for people with a passion for their community. Once you apply, there will be interviews and background checks and a 24-week training period. You can find out more online at wichita.gov. The city of Wichita reminds residents that open burning in areas of the state, including Wichita, is banned during the month of April. No new burn permits will be issued, and all previously issued burn permits will be suspended until at least May 1st. The burn ban is imposed in 16 counties through the month of April. Restricted activities include burning yard waste and construction debris. The ban also prohibits the use of backyard chimeneas and fire pits. Here's Doug Downs with the sports.
Jacob Junis, the starting pitcher for the Kansas City Royals, gave them 6 solid innings yesterday in their matchup against the Detroit Tigers. But once again, the Royals bullpen gave up 2 runs in the 7th, and the Kansas City Royals lost 5-4. Kansas City and Detroit will resume the series tomorrow.